Good evening, everyone. This is the George here with another stream for you guys, and this is another spoiler stream. I want to try to do more of these spoiler streams as much as I can because I enjoy talking about these movies, going into more detail on these movies. I've done one with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium back in February, and a couple weeks ago I did one on The Flash, and today I want to do one on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny because there are some things that I want to go more into detail with some of the decisions that were made in this movie. So just heads up, I'm probably going to be only going 2 hours with this stream. So it might be less than 2 hours. And also, if you have not seen Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny and don't want to be spoiled, I urge you to walk away, turn it off. If you have seen the movie or don't mind spoilers, then please stick around. So, with that out of the way, I do want to get started with the beginning of this movie, where we go back in time to World War II. And as I said, it feels like the odd number Indiana Jones movies are the ones that Indiana Jones takes on the Nazis. And we go back in time to the end of World War II, where Indiana Jones is taking on the Nazis with his friend Basil, who is played by Toby Jones. And this is also Helena's father. And this is where we are also introduced to Matt Mikkelsen's villain. And I'll be honest, when it comes to the opening of this movie, this was probably my third favorite Indiana Jones opening. It's not as good as the opening in Raiders and Last Crusade, but I did prefer this opening over the Temple of Doom and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull openings. So I definitely think the opening was a step up. And the de-aging, I will say the de-aging was very good, but it definitely looked a bit off when Indy is moving, particularly the action scenes. But for the most part, the de-aging looked very good. And I'll say one thing Disney does a pretty good job with in general is their de-aging. So the de-aging was very good with this. And this is where we are also introduced to our MacGuffin of the film, the dial. I know it's called the Archimedes dial, but I prefer calling it the dial because it's a long name. And then we get our sequence on the train. Again, another thing that from Last Crusade, you get a sequence on the train. In this case it's Indiana Jones and Basil versus the Nazis. And also Allied bombers are also happening in the scene because this is the end of World War II. This is 1944. So this is when like the Allies are liberating Europe. And then after this action scene, we are introduced to where Indy is in life. And it is definitely not the way we imagine it to go after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. If you saw Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, you saw at the end of that movie that Indy got married. He found out he had a son. And you think, he's having a happy life. But it starts with Indy in an apartment. He's having alcohol with his coffee, but he has separated from Marion. And at first I was like, okay, they're doing the typical thing that movie sequels like to do, which is have an off-screen divorce or separation. But there's a reason to it. And this is where I think James Mangold made a big risk. And the risk being how how Mutt is handled. And hey, Arkham, thank you for stopping by. So how Mutt was handled, and if you saw my videos on both Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and my non-spoiler review of Dial of Destiny, I have no problem with Mutt Williams. I think Shia LaBeouf did the best that he can with that character. And he wasn't the worst thing about Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, in my opinion, had other problems. To me, that character Mac was more of a problem. than any of the than Mutt Williams was. In fact, I'll take Mutt over Willie from Temple of Doom, and I like Temple of Doom as a movie a lot more than King of the Crystal Skull, and I definitely preferred Mutt over Helena, at least for the first half that this character was in. But basically, having Mutt get killed off because he went off to serve in Vietnam, it's one of those things that I think, depending on who the director is, it can be handled very well, and I actually thought it was handled very well with James Mangold. And as much as that's sad that they decided to kill Mutt off screen, I think it serves a reason, and I think that's a good enough reason that kind of pushed Indy and Marion away, because ultimately Marion was grieving, and Indy opened up to Helena at some point in the film about it when she asked, like, what would you do if you went back in time? And he basically said, like, if he had that opportunity, he would prevent his son from going off to Vietnam to spare Marion the grief of losing her son, as well as, him losing his son. And we also see the changes that are going around in the world. We're no longer in the 1930s as the first three Indiana Jones movies took place in. We're not even in the 1950s, like the Crystal Skull took place, where students were still interested in archaeology. We see, because this is happening around the time of the moon landing, that people are more into science. It's science that they're more invested into. They're no longer invested in his classes, because Indiana Jones is a lot older. The girls no longer find him attractive. The only person that's participating in his class is Helena, but he doesn't realize that's her just yet, because it's been a while since he's seen his goddaughter. And he's also retiring, so as times are changing, he's deciding, hey, I'm done with this. I'm just moving on. And then we have the scene at the bar where Indy and Helena are talking. And at first it starts off pretty good, but then she brings up about the dial, and you feel like something is off. And this is where we realize that this character is unlikable at first, because she is very obsessed with this dial, and because of her actions, some of Indy's college colleagues get killed by these Nazis. Mad Mikkelsen, this is where his character comes in with his henchmen, and they're working with the CIA. And all this destruction is happening. A parade's getting interrupted. There's also the chase sequence. CIA is trying to take Indy in. And at some point in this film, he gets framed for murder in this movie, which would make it like the second movie in a row that Indy's country betrayed him, or it's Indy versus country, because in King of the Crystal Skull, he was accused of assisting Soviets. In this case, it's, for murder. But luckily, he's assisted by Sala at a certain point in the film, who had taken his family to America. And I love that we have Sala in this film. John Rhys Davis returns, and he's not in the adventure. He wants to come, but Indy's like, oh no. And Sala admits that he misses the desert. And the reason why he's in the United States, him and his family, was because of World War II. But it's nice to see that Indy still has Sala in his back corner, and that he's still finding ways to help Indy. And his personality is still the same. I love that his personality is still upbeat. I would have definitely preferred having him on this adventure more than Helena. This character was very annoying. And we arrive to Indy being in Tangier, where Helena is trying to auction off this part of the dial that she took. And we are also introduced to this character, Teddy, who is her version of Short Round. And I'll say that I wasn't the biggest fan of this character. Sure. And it's not that he's a bad character. I just found him a bit annoying at times. And I get what they were trying to replicate, but he wasn't needed in this film. He just wasn't needed. for this Indiana Jones film. And then another chase sequence ensues, an action sequence. And I will say the chase sequences are very good in this movie. We got the previous one at the parade where Indy's being chased. He's riding on his horse. And he's like running through the subway. That was pretty cool. Well, I will admit that. And also this one as well. But I felt like you could have cut this chase sequence down, this one in Tangier. This is one of the things you could have trimmed down in this movie, because this movie is around 2 hours and 34 minutes long. It's way longer than it probably should be. And ultimately, Indy, Helena, and Teddy are working together, and that's when they meet Antonio Banderas' character, Ronaldo, who has the boat. And they go diving. The diving stuff is very cool. Cool. And basically, they're doing it to get this tablet that will show where the other part of the dial is. But the Nazis find them, and basically they kill Ronaldo and the crew. And this is another example of Indy losing more friends. And that's where, at a certain point, he basically says to Helena, who's like all up and excited about the dial, he says like very sternly, like, all my friends just died. And she's like, oh. But she's so wrapped up in the dial that she doesn't realize that all these people close to Indy are getting killed. His colleagues at work, and now his friend Ronaldo and his crew. And that's what I mean. This character just is so obsessed, and I get the obsession part, and this is where, like, I have no problem with Phoebe Waller-Bridge's performance. It's more so how the character is written, because a lot of people on the internet, certain groups, will blame it on Phoebe Waller-Bridge. In reality, I don't blame Phoebe Waller-Bridge for how her character turned out. I am more so annoyed at the writing for making this character selfish. And we kind of see that the dial did take a toll on her father. We do have a flashback sequence where we see Basil going nuts and Indy saying, hey, listen, your daughter is here. Just think about her. I like the nickname that Indy gives her, Wombat. That shows that Indy cares. But yeah, for like the first half of this movie, this character is probably the most unlikable person to go on an adventure with Indiana Jones. And while I have no problem with Teddy, he's no Short Round. I mean, Short Round was this awesome kid that never got on my nerves, that had a certain respect for Indiana Jones. You know, you could tell Willie Scott, you call him Dr. Jones. And it felt like they never gave Teddy and Helena moments that Temple of Doom gave Indy and Short Round, moments to show how close these two are. It's really just a partnership just to get money for this dial. It's really not so much of her taking this kid in and growing to care about this kid, similar to how Indy took Short Round in for when Short Round was doing similar things that Teddy was doing and growing to caring for this kid. I just never really saw that between these two. And but before the diving scene, before the Nazis are killing the crew, before they go to Italy, basically when Helena asks Indy, what would you go back in time if you had the chance to? That's where we get the scene where Indy opens up about how he would go back in time to prevent his son from going to Vietnam. And that's what I meant in my original review about how Harrison Ford, this was the most emotional performance that Harrison Ford has given. And one thing that I've noticed with the last few Indiana Jones movies, from Last Crusade, a little bit of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and this film, is that these movies have humanized Indiana Jones. They humanized him because it felt like with Raiders and Temple of Doom, I love those movies. We see more so Indy as just this unstoppable, as this, well, maybe not unstoppable, but this awesome action hero. Where in these movies we see Indy more so as more human. In Last Crusade, it was more so about Indy and the relationship with his father, how strained his relationship was with his dad, how he's trying to find ways to impress his father, and his father doesn't really seem to care, even though Indy cares a lot. And then Indy realizes his father does care. We got a little bit of it in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where we see, Indy thinking about how his dad's gone, Marcus is gone, and then finding out that he has a son. In here, it's basically the changes that Indy's going through, the changes around the world, his separation with Marianne, how Mutt's loss is still hanging, his goddaughter coming back into his life, but now he's been wrapped up in this adventure. And this is where, and then once we get to the scene Illy, we see that basically they're going into this cave to find the other part of the dial. And this is where we get the classic Indiana Jones stuff with the bugs, with climbing on stuff, and we get some brief mentions of the events of Temple of Doom, which I'm glad, because Temple of Doom feels like the forgotten movie at times when it comes to the original Indiana Jones series. It's really never brought up until this movie, and also, I mean, I thought it was enough that we had. I didn't think, well. At first, you would think, oh, they got like an odd short round with the character Teddy, but no, we got bringing up the voodoo dolls, drinking Kali's blood, and those crazy antics. And then they find the other half of the dial, and they notice certain interesting stuff. That in the tomb there's a watch, and that there's markings showing a plane propeller. But then the Nazis find Indiana Jones. And they shoot Indy and capture Indy. And that's when you really see the change in Shaw's character, where she is worried about Indy and she's going to try to go to great lengths to go save Indy. And so this is where Matt Mickelson's character, Voller, sorry if I mispronounced the name, decides they're going to go back in time to 1939. And the interesting thing about this movie is that the Nazis in the previous Indiana Jones movies worshipped Hitler. They saw Hitler as a god, and they were doing this stuff for Hitler. They wanted to get the Ark to give Hitler an invincible army. And basically, what Vol wants to do is kill Hitler and lead Germany to victory. Which to me is a very interesting, because the previous movies involving the Nazis was basically about making Hitler happy, making him proud. Where here, the MacGuffin, the dial they're going to use to get rid of him, to lead, because they think they can lead Germany to greatness. But what they don't realize is the dial, when they're activating it actually sends them to 212 BC during the siege of Syracuse. And this has been brought up many times throughout the film. And this is where there were leaks a year or two ago. Was it 2021? Was it 2022? I'm not too sure. The leaks said that there was going to be stuff involving this, that apparently there were set photos involving time travel. And to me, this is the craziest ending for an Indiana Jones movie. Even crazier than the alien stuff in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. However, I feel like this also fits Indiana Jones more so than the aliens, because in Last Crusade, I mean, you had the knight that's been there for hundreds of years waiting for someone worthy, I mean, to take the grail. So time travel to me in an Indiana Jones movie isn't the craziest well, I mean, it is the craziest idea, but it's also not the most far-fetched idea in an Indiana Jones movie. And basically all these soldiers that on their boats as they're fighting each other, the Greek and Roman armies are fighting each other. They think the planes are dragons, so they're also trying to fire at the planes. And this is where Helene's trying getting in Jones, who's still wounded from the gunshot wound, and she rescues him, and the Nazis die in a plane crash. And this is where you feel like this is going to go the typical James Mangold direction, or at least the Mangold direction that you saw in Logan. So I just want to say this. I think James Mangold replicating Spielberg's style while at the same time keeping his style, I think he did a pretty good job of doing. Because you still have like the map transitions, the classic Indy theme, but you still have those Mangold themes of a character aging, the world around him changing, people in his life are no longer around. And then something happens at the end where Indy's basically telling his goddaughter to leave him here. That he'll die here. He's fascinated with what he sees, and he believes that there's nothing for him to come back to at home. And his goddaughter is very distressed about it. She's trying to convince him to return because the portal is going to close, and Archimedes is there, and I honestly had no idea what was going to happen. I was at first completely convinced that they were just going to kill Indy off here, just leave Indy here, and we know a certain YouTuber that does not like Lucasfilm, that wears a mask. Overlord DVD. I'm not going to call him by his real name just yet. Was saying, according to his sources, Indiana Jones was going to die, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge was going to take over, and she was going to be the new Indiana Jones. That does not happen. What happens is Helena punches Indy unconscious, and then we wake up to Indy in his apartment where he is healing. And she calls in some favors. Well, not calling some favors, but asks some people to come in and help. And one of them turns out to be Marion. Karen Ellen returns as Marion Ravenwood. And her and Teddy come in with some groceries. And then we see Sala and his grandkids come in. So everyone leaves to go get ice cream with the exception of Indy and Marion, where they start to finally heal. They start to make up. They reconcile. And in classic Indy Marion relationship, they talk about where it hurts, and they kiss where it hurts. And then we see, like, before the credits roll, Indy's hat on the clothesline, and we see a hand, Indy's hand, I'm pretty sure, grab the hat, and then we have our credits. And honestly, I'm glad they went with this ending, because first of all, I don't want to see Indiana Jones die. I feel like you can have a conclusion to a series without having your main character die, because that's something we see other movies do. We saw Logan do it with Wolverine. Avengers Endgame did it with Iron Man. We saw in the Star Wars sequel trilogy, they killed off Luke Skywalker and Han Solo, which I think was another reason why I think some people were actually convinced that Indiana Jones was going to die, because if Lucasfilm was okay with killing off Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, then yeah, they'd probably be okay with killing off Indiana Jones. But luckily they didn't. And spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen John Wick Chapter 4, spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, they kill off John Wick in John Wick Chapter 4. And look, I love John Wick Chapter 4. I love Avengers Endgame. I love Logan. But again, you don't need to always kill off your hero. I think a movie can conclude, a series can conclude without killing off the main hero. The John Williams score, I do want to get into that. I did like the score. I think I prefer it in here than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That's the main thing I'll say about Dial of Destiny. It feels like most of the stuff they did better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And I don't hate Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I just find it to be wasted potential, because it had some very good ideas, but it had a forgettable villain. It had some very iffy CGI. And Indiana Jones felt pretty invincible in that movie. For a guy that was in his mid-60s, Indiana Jones was invincible. Like, of all the Indiana Jones movies, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he probably got the least amount of pain, took the least amount of beatings. While in here, you can tell that Indiana Jones, like, you can tell like this guy was in his 70s, 80s, or 80s. Like, he was very limited on stuff. He's complaining about his back. He's talking about like all the shots that he's taken. Like, we see Indiana Jones is not in the best shape. So I like that they captured that. Another thing was the special effects I thought were better in this film than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And also the lighting, the lighting, they finally kind of went back to that classic Indiana Jones lighting. Because Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was just too bright. The lights for that were obnoxious. Here, it's not. This is definitely a darker Indiana Jones movie than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's not as dark as Temple of Doom. I think Temple of Doom will probably be the darkest Indiana Jones movie to come out. It's not as dark as Raiders. Probably like, as far as tone, it's probably equal with Last Crusade as far as tone goes, where it knows when to be light and it knows when to be dark. Although it feels like there's a bigger body count in this movie. Like, that's the thing I'll say, because as I said at the beginning of the stream, a lot of people die because of the actions of the Nazis, the actions of Helena. I also like that they captured the 1960s very well. They utilized the moon landing happening, and also the changing of the world, because at this point, college kids, or people just in general, are more interested in science than archaeology. If you recall, in Raiders and Last Crusade, everyone seemed engaged. And I know a lot of the girls were engaged because Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford, in his younger days was extremely handsome. So yeah, Indiana Jones, extremely handsome. All the girls have a crush on him. You have that one girl sitting in the front row who wrote "I love you" on her like eyelids, and it made Indy feel very uncomfortable. But also, even the male students were engaged and interested in what Indy was teaching in those movies. And yeah, even though he aged in the Crystal Skull in his 60s, the college kids still look like they're interested. And even one of them asks, after the chase scene that Indy and Mug go through, the infamous one where the statue of Marcus Brody, that the head comes off, where one of them is like asking Indy a question after this chase scene, and the student's like, "Oh, I got a question, Professor Jones," and Indy answers the question. Like even then, like kids were still interested in archaeology. Well, college students. And here they're really not. And Indy's trying his best to try to get them interested. And you can tell he's got like a different kind of classroom. He's no longer using the classic chalkboards that he was using back in the day. So I like that they were showing the times changing. Now, as far as the length goes, as I said, I think that scene after the auction, the chase scene, to me, that went on longer than it probably should have. That probably didn't need to be that long. I also think my mic's falling. Sorry. I would probably say some of the stuff on the boat you could have trimmed down or cut out as well, because most of the Indiana Jones movies, except for this one, are usually around 2 hours long. Now, Raiders and Temple of Doom were less than 2 hours. I think a few minutes shorter than 2 hours for each one. Last Crusade, I think it was like 2 hours and 8 minutes, which I think was the perfect runtime for that perfect movie. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was around 2 hours, 2 hours and 2 minutes. That's a pretty good runtime. They've always been around 2 hours. This one, they went very long. And I find that to be pretty odd because James Mangold, I know I keep comparing this to Logan. James Mangold with Logan was like 2 hours and 10 minutes, I think. So when I look at this runtime of Dial of Destiny compared to the runtime of other movies, like let's compare this to Spider-Man No Way Home, for example. Spider-Man No Way Home is like less than 2 hours and 30 minutes, like 2 hours and 20 something minutes, which is longer than most MCU movies, but still, Dial of Destiny is longer than that. I think Star Wars The Last Jedi even was like a couple minutes less than that. It was like around 2 hours and 50 minutes. I think Dark Knight. I'm gonna look up Dark Knight real quick. The Dark Knight. I think Dark Knight has the same runtime length. But this is definitely longer than Captain America: Civil War, which had most of the MCU heroes. Avengers: Infinity War, which had even more MCU heroes. I think most of the Phase 1 to 3 MCU heroes were in that film. Okay, so Dark Knight was 2 hours and 32 minutes. So this is 2 minutes longer than The Dark Knight. This movie is longer than all the Star Wars movies. There are some parts in that third act when the plane is flying. It felt like that plane was flying forever until finally it crashed, and finally Helena rescued Indy, and the Nazis died. Like that scene, you could have trimmed down some of that. There's also some stuff leading into that as they're getting on the plane as they're trying to chase the plane. You could have trimmed that down as well. There's some scenes that I'm not saying you should have cut like full on scenes, but you could have made them shorter. You could have made some of the chase stuff shorter. And I love Indiana Jones chase scenes, but that one after the auction just went on way too long. And I shouldn't be saying that about an Indiana Jones movie, that a chase scene is going on way too long. I want to get to the next part because I love the chase scenes in Indiana Jones movies. Even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I was entertained by the chase scenes, although one of them had Shia LaBeouf swinging with monkeys, or William swinging with monkeys. The villains, Matt Mickelson, I like that. One of the things I liked about this movie is similar to Raiders of the Lost Ark. And I know people might say it's blasphemy you're comparing this to Raiders. Raiders is a way better movie than this. Raiders is one of my top favorite 50 movies of all time. This doesn't even come close. Not nearly close to that list. But one thing that is similar to Raiders is the beginning of the movie establishes our villain. In Raiders, after Indy escapes that temple, that tomb, Billock appears with the natives and takes that treasure, and basically we see that there was a rivalry between him and Indy. Then we later find out that Belloc is working with the Nazis to get the Ark. In here, Voller, we see that Voller, he's different from the other Nazi villains that we've gotten in the past, where he's very conflicted, and you can tell like he won't tell that he's not afraid to tell his Nazi superiors. There's that this lance, because at first it's about a lance that they find, but then it turns out that the lance is fake, and he's talking about this dial, and the other Nazis just laugh it off. But Voller's very interested in it, and then we see like he confronts Indy, but then he gets hit by something and falls off the train. Then we see him in this hotel room, and he's at first working with the CIA to get the dial, but then he betrays the CIA because CIA basically saying, hey, your methods are too much. People are getting killed. We're ending this thing. And then he kills them after the stuff in Tangier. Yeah, this guy is also not afraid to be a racist. I mean, he says to the one guy that works in the hotel, where are you from? And the guy's like saying, oh, I grew up in the Bronx. I grew up by where the Yankees are. And he's basically saying, like, are you sure that's where you grew up from? Like Mads Mikkelsen always portrays great villains in general. I still think he was wasted in the first Doctor Strange movie. But Mads Mikkelsen definitely a lot better than Kate Blanchett's villain Spalko from King of the Crystal Skull. And I like Kate Blanchett as an actress, and she can play great villains. She was a great villain in Thor Ragnarok, where she played Hela. She was one of the better villains in the MCU, in my opinion. So, and I know that came out 9 years after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but Kate Blanchett could have done you could have given Kate Blanchett a lot more to work with. As far as the other Indiana Jones villains go, I would say, it's kind of hard to measure Indiana Jones villains, because you can make the case that some of the Indiana Jones villains, like Mala Ram, come across as corny at times, but they also do some very deadly, dangerous stuff. I mean, Mala Ram had a human ritual. He ripped out a man's heart and then sacrificed him. And also the fact that Mala Ram, his cult, the Thuggy cult, basically made the children in that village into slaves and had them work just to find the rest of these stones that he was after. I mean, the other characters, I mean, Walter Donovan, I wouldn't say Walter Donovan was like the most sinister villain in the Indiana Jones movies. But at the same time, he also betrayed his country and worked with the Nazis to get the Holy Grail. It's really hard to measure Indiana Jones villains. But I would say he was definitely a pretty good villain in this movie. I've already brought up many times about people Indy has partnered up with. Helena and Teddy are pretty low on the list. Sala and Marcus, Henry Sr. and Short Round, and Marion, they're like in an S tier if we were to do a tier list, because they are just awesome characters. Mutt, I would put in the B list, because I don't have anything against Mutt Williams. I have nothing really against the character, because at least the character did stuff. Then there's Willie Scott, who was just flailing her arms, screaming. Didn't really contribute much to the plot. With Helena and Teddy, it's a tale of two halves of the movie, because the first half, these characters are in, I honestly didn't care for them. Then the second half, they become very likable. Like by the end of this film, Helena Shaw is a lot more likable of a character because we realize that she does care for Indiana Jones. She goes out of her way to save him, and she's trying to convince him. Listen, we gotta go back, and instead of accepting it, she just like punches him. And yeah, like you don't want to see her punch Indy, especially after she's been so condescending and kind of mean to Indy for most of this film. But then you appreciate the fact that, you know what? But she saved Indy's life. Would I want to see a spin-off with this character? I honestly probably wouldn't. I mean, I'll be honest, I would have rather have seen a Mutt spinoff, but Shia LaBeouf doesn't want to do this kind of stuff anymore. He didn't like this movie. Well, no, he didn't like the movie he was in, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. He's also lost his mind, and he's also has faced some serious allegations. If you recall, there was that controversy back with what was that movie? The movie from last year that Olivia Wilde directed, and Florence Pugh starred in. It was was it called Don't Worry Darling? I'm looking it up. Yeah, Don't Worry Darling, where the role that Harry Styles played in that movie. I didn't see the movie, so I don't really know much about this movie other than there was a big controversy with it last year. Harry Styles' role that was actually originally meant for Shia LaBeouf. But there was a lot of controversy with Shia and his departure in that film because of the allegations that LaBeouf was facing. Well, originally it started off with his poor behavior and clashing with cast and crew. And originally he said that he quit the film, and the director wanted him to stay. And she denied his claims. But then there was a clip that came out where Olivia Wilde was calling him, trying to convince him to stay on and wants to figure it out. And she also took a shot at Florence Pugh. But she's denying that happened, saying that she fired him after Pugh said she was uncomfortable with Shia's behavior. I honestly don't know like what really happened with that. I don't think anyone really does other than those people that were involved. But yeah, no, because of that and other stuff, LaBeouf's never going to come back to this franchise, even if Mutt Williams wasn't written off. I would have liked to have seen a Short Round spinoff. I mean, like I said, there's other characters that if you keep them around, I'd rather see them get spinoffs than Helena. But I don't think they're really going to do any Indiana Jones spinoffs. Like, this is the last film in general. Harrison Ford is retiring this character, and he's made it clear that he wants this to be the last film. He doesn't want Indy to be recast. He is very passionate about Indiana Jones. For those of you who don't know, he is very passionate. Han Solo, he doesn't really care that much for. This character, he does. And apparently, back in March, they had canceled a planned Indiana Jones spinoff because they wanted to focus more so on Star Wars. And apparently it would have been kind of similar to the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. Like, it would take place before Raiders. I mean, I wouldn't mind that. Oh, hey, Dia.
Hello.
I'm just like talking about the franchise in general because I was talking about the film. But what are your thoughts on this movie? Because I don't think I've heard your thoughts at all.
Oh yeah. Um, I was I was a bit let down. Gonna be honest with you. Um,
Ooh.
yeah. I don't think this movie's awful. there's some really good moments in here, but um, I don't know. Like for me, it's like as far as how I rank the franchise in general. For me, Last Crusade is my favorite, and then Raiders, and I actually like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I know it gets a lot of hate, but I don't. You I don't hate the movie. I had a good time with it. It's definitely not on the level of Raiders and Crusade, but and then I don't like Temple of Doom. I'm not a fan of it. Um, so for me, like right now, I'm debating if I like this more than Crystal Skull. Like they're like neck and neck right now. I feel like I need to watch it again. Um, before I end up doing like my in-depth thoughts on my stream. But yeah, right now I'm just like, I didn't walk away from this being like, oh, this was great, or this was worth them making this movie. Like, this is a film I didn't even want. I didn't want an Indiana Jones 5. I felt it was they waited too long to make a sequel, and Harrison Ford is too old. And I was already worried that Steven Spielberg wasn't coming back to direct it. I know James Mangold is a really solid director. Like I do really like his work, but I wasn't sure if his directing style really fit with Indiana Jones. And after watching it, I pretty much feel the same. I don't feel like he was the right person to do this. He did the best with what he was given, but I miss those sensibilities that Spielberg gave to the previous movies. That's what gave. I think that's a good. It's one of the big reasons of why Indiana Jones has its charm is because of what Spielberg and Lucas was able to give to it. Um, and it overall, it feels like, as far as the story and the writing, it feels like there's too many cooks in the kitchen. It feels like there's a lot of ideas they were trying to put in this. They were trying to put it all together, and it just didn't mesh very well. It felt like there was quite a bit of interference. It felt like Kathleen Kennedy was trying to put her stuff in there too that didn't fit with Indiana Jones. I don't know, man. I really wanted to like this. I really did, but I just walked out of it being like, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, it's weird because with this film, I mean, I think Mangold did the best he could as far as replicating Spielberg's formula. But at the same time, you do have like the stuff like Mangold would usually have. And also, what you think of Phoebe Waller Bridges' character? Because I'm going to be honest, this is probably my least favorite companion of Indiana Jones, more so than Willie Scott.
I'm not there because I think Willie is absolutely awful. Like nails on a chalkboard. I personally think she's one of the worst female characters in the history of film. So I don't think Phoebe Waller-Bridge is on that level of bad, but I didn't like her either. I didn't like her. And I've heard like early reviews, and as far as like um her previous work, that I've heard all the stuff like she was awful, that she was all about doing all her woke crap in the movie, and they're trying to push her to be the replacement of Indiana Jones, blah 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 blah. I didn't really like pay attention to that too much, because everyone wants to throw in woke whenever there's a strong female character in the film. So I'm like, I literally walked in there with an open mind. I actually gave her a chance, but I I'm sorry. I couldn't get with her character either. Like she wasn't likable. She was an asshole in quite a few moments. Um and there were some slight Mary Sue isms with her character. She seemed like she knew everything. She knew how to get out of almost every situation. She was on top of a lot of things without properly like developing her of how she was knew all that stuff, how she was able to you know be experiencing so many things. At least like I wish they spent more time developing that, but they didn't. And like the whole thing of her being the goddaughter of Indy, I didn't feel like that was earned. I didn't feel a genuine connection or relationship between Helena and Indy at all. Um, it just yeah, her character felt forced. But I mean, the reason why I don't think she's worse than Willie is because like first of all, she doesn't scream her lines every 5 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
She actually was competent in you know in like certain situations. She was useful, but that's all I can give her. Yeah, I didn't like her either.
Because, well, first of all, I would say thank goodness, like that she was the god, like the daughter of this character that we didn't that was just introduced into this film, Basil. Because when it was first announced that she was going to be Indy's goddaughter, everyone thought that she was going to be the daughter of Marcus Brody or related to Marcus. And it's like, could you imagine like this being Marcus Brody's legacy?
No,
Like
no,
like
no.
that would just because Marcus is like as I was saying before you came on, Marcus Brody's like on an S tier level of Indiana Jones supporting characters, companions of Indies.
Mm-hmm.
And like if this was his daughter or granddaughter, and like this was the legacy that was left for, I'd be like, good lord, Marcus would be shaking his head in shame.
Absolutely. I do wish that like I do wish that the goddaughter was actually someone from the previous movies, so we could feel more of a connection with between her and Indy. But like, I would have just had them completely recast because Phoebe Waller-Bridge just felt misplaced in this movie. Um, like I think yeah, I think it would have been better if they did like the daughter of Marcus or the daughter of Sala. Like I would have been cool with that too. Um, but yeah, and one thing I also didn't realize with Phoebe, I didn't realize that she played L337 in Solo, um, and I hated her in Solo. I thought it
Oh
was awful.
yeah,
The droid.
yeah. The one that kind of said the stereotypical social justice warrior stuff that certain people like to make fun of.
Yes, and so that's one of the things I was talking about, where it's like man, this feels like such a Kathleen Kennedy choice to put her in this movie, and the stuff that they wrote for her character felt like it had some sort of agenda. I don't like to throw that around. As I said, I don't like to just say that just because, but like it was very noticeably so in this.
Like even if like they had just brought in like even if they had instead brought in maybe like an older short round and had him and Indy going on an adventure like after like many years of not talking to each other and reconnecting, I think that would have been a much better thing than just bringing in this character that's very condescending to Indy, that's kind of arrogant, that kind of led this path of destruction where a lot of Indy's friends died, like from his colleagues at college to Antonio Banderas's character and his crew, Ronaldo.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and at a certain point, Indy basically said as she's just like yapping on, like going crazy with her obsession. Indy's like, my friends just died back there,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like it just like baffled me with her for like the first half that this character is on screen.
Mm-hmm. I just man, I thought I don't know. I'm kind of with you. I wish they were able to get short round in here. Just like he didn't even need to be in the whole movie, you know. But like
Yeah, but
they
like
he
maybe like the role Sala played something similar.
yeah. Even though like it did kind of upset me that they didn't have Sala come with Indy and Helena because he actually wanted to go. Like he was there with his passport and everything, and he was just like no, stay here. I'm just like man.
That would have been such a more fun adventure if it was like Indy and Sala.
Yeah, like that would have been the one last adventure, you know. And even with short round, they probably wouldn't have been able to get short round because he was probably busy filming everything everywhere all at once. But like, yeah, I would have much rather if they were able to get Salah and or a short round in there, like something. But yeah, just like Yeah, Helena just wasn't it. Just
And and I get why they couldn't bring back Shia LaBeouf for this movie because he's lost his mind. He's faced some serious allegations of stuff, and also
mhm.
him and Harrison Ford didn't exactly have a good relationship, and he doesn't care for returning to blockbuster movies. But even if like they brought back Mutt, because I have no problem with Mutt. I actually didn't mind that character in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I was like, there were a bunch of other problems. Mutt wasn't one of them.
I agree. I actually did like Mutt. I thought, I actually liked what he was doing for the most part. And I used to, I'm not gonna lie, I was a big Shia LaBeouf fan. I'm not gonna lie around when that came out. But like, yeah, I definitely of the issues that Crystal Skull had, Shia LaBeouf was not one of them. Even when they gave him some weird stuff to do, he made the best of what he was given. You
I
know.
mean, if anything, like I would complain more about that character Mac from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, who is the biggest flip flopper in a movie because he's like on Indy's side at the beginning, then he sides with the Soviets, then like during that chase sequence, like in the middle of the film, he's with Indy again, and then he betrays them because he wants like the treasure and stuff, and then he gets sucked into the portal, and we don't really give a crap.
Yeah, that double, triple, quadruple agent crap. Like, no, no, did not make sense.
But yeah, no, like that was also around the time like Shia was doing the Transformer movies, and looking back, Shia also wasn't the problem with those Transformer movies. As much problem Shia LaBeouf has in real life, in the late 2000s, he was not the problem with some of those movies that have come out around that time, Transformers and Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I agree. As I said, like even when he's given some weird, writing, like he makes the best of it. Like he still ends up being entertaining to watch, at least in my opinion. Um, but yeah, it's like it was very unfortunate that they weren't able to bring him back. And but like you, I did understand why they couldn't bring him back because of all the stuff that's going on in his life. But I just it did feel kind of I couldn't help but feel it was a bit kind malicious for them to just be like, "Oh, he dies off screen." Like, I don't know.
Yeah, like at first when I heard that, I was like, okay, this is kind of stretching it, but then how they did it and how that took a toll on Indy and Marion's relationship. At the same time, I was like, okay, if you're gonna have a reason to have them separate, because when I first heard that they separated at the beginning of the film, I was like, oh, they did that thing that all these movies do. But then when Indy explained what happened and what he would use the dial to go back in time for, what he would go back in time for, I was like, oh wow, this actually humanizes him, and it kind of shows that what's going on at this stage of his life.
Yeah, I get what they were trying to do. I do, but like, I just, I don't know. It feels like they're like mangled and like I don't know whoever wrote this movie. They felt like they were just going out their way to deconstruct the character, but like I just felt like there wasn't really a soul to it, like it just felt kind of cold. That's kind of how I felt throughout this entire movie. It's just like I felt like there wasn't that soul that the previous movies had. Something felt very cold and cerebral to it, and I feel like that's kind of what Mangel's like directing style is, and it's just like I don't know. I didn't feel that sense of joy that I had with the other movies. It felt kind of depressing a lot of times. Maybe that was their intent. Um, I've heard some comparisons between this and the Last Jedi. I don't want to go that far.
No, no, this is definitely not a Last Jedi scenario because Indy still feels more like Indy than Luke Skywalker felt like Luke Skywalker in that movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
But
mean, it's not like he's like saying, frick it, I'm not getting involved in this. He's like, oh, then the Nazis are involved in this. Like, as much as I don't want to like do another adventure at the same time, like I don't want my goddaughter getting herself into more trouble, and I don't want these guys winning.
right, I really like that Indy and Marion got together at the end of Crystal Skull, and it's just, it just sucks that they went out their way to have them separated again. You know, I think there could have been another way for them to like show the to show how much how old Indy has gotten, how wary he's gotten without completely getting rid of everything that he cares about. I know by the end they kind of try and fix that when Marion, you know, came back at the end, but like I don't know, I
But
don't
which
know.
I'm glad they did that because
Yeah.
because at a certain because you gotta remember Indy was like fine with dying in this time period that he doesn't belong in, which to me was like the most James Mangold thing I ever saw, and I was like, oh, they're actually gonna kill him off,
Hmm.
and then they didn't, and it was kind of a reminder when Marion coming back that Indy still has people for him back home. And the thing is, it's like they show like he's still close friends with Sala. Like Sala still has his back and is loyal to him. So it's not like he doesn't have anyone else back home.
Yeah. But then once again, he couldn't even let him go, on the adventure with him.
Yeah. So it's like that was a weird choice where Indy's like, no, I'm gonna just stay. And I kind of like that they kind of use that as an opportunity to make Phoebe Waller Bridge's character have more heart and be like, no, you got to come back. Like, this isn't where you belong. You need to get help.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I will say, the second half that character was in, like, she did change for the better, thank God, because I didn't
Yeah.
know how much more of her I could have taken if she kept going down this path.
Yeah, I agree. She did get a little bit. Did get a little better by the time we got to the end. Um, yeah, I don't still don't think it's enough for me to be like, oh, I want to see more from this character again. I'm
Yeah,
still
no.
definitely
Yeah.
not feeling that. I don't know if you already talked about the first 20 minutes of this movie. Um,
I mean, I
but
did, but I want to hear your thoughts because to me, like, this is kind of my third favorite opening of an indie film. I preferred this over the opening of Temple of Doom in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it's still leagues behind Raiders and Last Crusade as far as openings go.
honestly, I'm right there with you. It's like right in the middle for me. I do think it's better than the opening of Temple of Doom and Crystal Skull, but it's not better than the opening of Raiders and Last Crusade. But um, but yeah, that first 20 minutes, honestly, is the best part of the movie. I'm not gonna lie, like that first 20 minutes, I was like, this is the closest to it feeling like the original films. I thought at the time Mangle got it. He understood what we wanted to see. Even the de aging on Harrison Ford, I was actually impressed by that for the most part. Because I know that was something that a lot of people were vocal about. Um, but like I was actually impressed. There were a couple of moments where it did look a little off, but I was shook for a lot of it. Like that looked like a young Harrison Ford right there. And there were a couple of moments though, like where you really have to suspend your disbelief on like the physics because there's like some stunts that happen with Indy and like some of the other Nazis where it's like they get hit by something and it looks like or like I don't know, like when Indy was getting hanged in the
Oh my goodness, that
it,
scene.
yeah, and then the missile came in, and then like he was just hanging by the lynch. Like that should have like broke his neck, but he was still alive there. Okay.
Yeah, I was worried they were gonna make the same mistake that I think Kingdom of the Crystal Skull made, which was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Indy felt invincible. Like he's 60 years old, and yet he got like the least amount of pain in any Indiana Jones film.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I was definitely worried that was going to happen there, and then also like that train sequence when his back was literally dragging on the top of that tunnel when they were going through, and I'm like that should scrape the back of his neck, but I mean the back, scrape his entire back, but he's okay there. And then the one shot that made me jump a little bit when I forgot what who's Mads Mikkelsen's character.
Oh, Voller. I think well, that's his name. I might be mispronouncing it incorrectly because it's a German name, but
Yeah, but when Voller was, I don't know, was about to was pointing the gun at Indy and the other guy, I forgot his name. But anyway,
Basil.
Basil, yes. The one of the, I don't know what, like this is like this long bar that like Lily hit him right in the face.
Yeah, I was like, they should have given him like some kind of like scar or something like years later.
Something like that, because that was a really hard impact. Like that made me jump when that happened. I was like, "Oh, like he's dead." I'm like,
Well,
"No."
yeah, and the one thing, like, I did make one comparison to Raiders because similar to Raiders, it felt like the villain was set up at the beginning of the film, similar to how Raiders, you set up the character Belloc and that he had this rivalry with Indiana Jones, that they're familiar with each other. And in this one, like we're establishing Mads Mikkelsen's character. So, like, that's the one similarity I did like from Raiders. Like, you're establishing the main villain in
Mhm.
this opening sequence, the history between him and Indy.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I did like all that. I thought that was very well done, as I said. But yeah, those are like my only like issues with that opening 20 minutes. But like as I said, that was it was energetic. The score was really good in that part. Just the overall set piece on the train was really exciting. The de-aging on Harrison looked really good. So I'm like, oh, we might be in for a really good movie. And then the rest of the movie happened.
That would have probably been a way better movie. Indiana Jones at the end of World War II taking on the Nazis.
Yeah,
One thing I noticed, and I said this in my non spoiler review, the odd number Indiana Jones movies have Nazis and Sala in them
yeah,
because Raiders was the first, Last Crusade was the third, this one was the fifth.
yeah.
Temple of Doom, Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the second and fourth ones. No Nazis, no Sala. I did see because I was doing research on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull before my
Mhm.
review. I guess they asked John Rice Davis to return for like a cameo, but he didn't want to come back for it. That's kind of his role in this movie,
Uh,
like
okay.
like like a cameo. Like he wouldn't return for Kingdom, but he will return for this one.
Okay. Wow. Great.
But then again, they also tried getting Sean Connery to return for Kingdom, and he didn't want to come back for a small cameo.
Yeah, I get that. But like, and honestly, like, what would Sean Connery do in Crystal Skull? He'll be like really old,
Yeah.
you know. But I mean, I was still happy to see him, but I just wish he was able to do more.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, I would have rather the adventure be with Indiana Jones and Toby Jones's character Basil, because he seemed like a likable character at that beginning of the film. So I was like, if this character was still alive and on the adventure with old Indy, I wouldn't have mind that as well.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that either. I thought that he was a solid character, I guess, for the time that we had with him. Um, but yeah, like that train sequence, and then the that chase in the city later on with the what are those bike taxi things? Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Y'all saw in the trailer those bike taxi things like that. Those two scenes are like the most exciting set pieces of the movie to me. That's what's kind of disappointing too. Like this movie's too long too, way too long. Like,
yeah. There's some things they could have easily trimmed down in this film, not cut out entirely, but trimmed down.
I mean, yeah, I could see. Yeah, I could see. They literally could have trimmed down. Like the previous four movies didn't go past 2 hours. I
The
think like
the
Crystal Skull was like only 2 hours and 4 minutes, maybe.
well, Last Crusade was 2 hours and 8 minutes, but still, that like the thing is, Last Crusade is on a different level compared to most movies in general. So it's like there was never a dull moment in that movie.
No, but like Indiana Jones, like none of those movies were like that long. You know, like like they should have been able to tell an Indiana Jones story in 2 hours or so. Like I don't know, they could have easily either cut or trimmed down like 25, 30 minutes from this movie. I don't know
Yeah,
what I don't know what it is about like movies nowadays. I mean, not all the films like recently have like had bad pacing, but like I just be starting to notice more like these movies that are going over 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Like it doesn't feel warranted. Like John Wick, I thought was too long. Um, the Batman was too long. Uh,
and I love those movies, but yeah, I'll admit, like those movies, you could have trimmed out those movies down. I mean, there was never a dull moment in those movies, but
I mean, as I said, like there's no like movie that's too long or too short. Like a movie has to can be as long as it needs to be, as long as it's warranted, and the story calls for it to be that long. Um, like even Avatar: The Way of Water, I expected it to be long, but like it didn't need to be that long. It did not need
yeah,
to be that
I,
long.
I was, but before he came out, I was comparing the length of this film to other movies. Like this movie is longer than Avengers: Infinity War, Spider-Man: No Way Home, a few minutes longer than the Last Jedi, longer than all the other Star Wars movies just in general.
Hmm.
2 minutes longer than the Dark Knight. It's like an Indiana Jones movie is longer than an Avengers movie that had mostly every single MCU character that was introduced at that point. This was longer than a Spider-Man movie that had two other Spider-Man from the previous films appear with Tom Holland and their villains.
Right. It's just like there shouldn't be like an Indiana Jones movie that's like takes that. I mean, it's from what we see from the previous movies, like like Indy has to like solve some puzzles and like there's the stuff with the archaeology and stuff like that. But for the most part, telling an Indiana Jones story is relatively simple. So it's like I know like that the thing I heard before this movie came out is like they probably made it that long because it's Indy's last ride, and so it's like they feel like they needed enough time to like you know, tell everything with a story. But I'm like, I'm over there like, how much is there to really tell? You know, do you really need that much to tell like Indy's last story? Like, I don't know. Like, it's, I don't know.
Well, the thing is, like the chase scene after the auction.
Yeah.
I'm there, but before this film, I've always loved Indiana Jones chase scenes. Whether it was the boat scene from Last Crusade,
Yeah.
the opening scene of Temple of Doom, where Short Round's driving the car and they're trying to escape. Even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the chase
Chasing
scenes
the
I
horse.
enjoyed.
Yeah.
I enjoyed a lot. I did feel like it kind of got ruined with CGI ants at the end of the chase scene.
Actually, the CGI ants was like the best CGI effect in that movie.
That's a good point, but it just felt like just so bizarre and weird, and the stuff with Mutt swinging with the monkeys. But
That
I
was
still,
now that was bad. Like, no.
yeah, like I enjoyed the chase scenes in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Hmm.
The first one in New York City, where he's on the horse, he's going through the subway. I thought that was really cool. I enjoyed that one a lot.
Even
The,
I was just mad about that. Like, that should be a really exciting scene with him riding on a horse, getting chased by the Nazis, and trying to outrun a subway. That should be really exciting. But I'm like, okay, like
I mean,
I don't know.
I like that one a lot personally, but the one after the auction, I was like, this is going on too long, and I was like, I never said this about an Indiana Jones chase scene before.
Yeah.
And it could be because at this point in the film, I'm already sick and tired of the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, Helena Shaw. That the Short Round ripoff character isn't doing it for me.
No.
And I love Short Round. I love Short Round in Temple of Doom,
Hmm.
they're trying to mimic it, but it's like this character isn't as useful as Short Round. You don't really see a relationship between him and Helena similar to you saw a relationship between Indy and Short Round in Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
It's like we're just business partners. I found this kid, and yeah, I'm gonna offer him whatever money.
Right. And like going to that chase sequence. You are right that it did go on way too long, and that's one of the textbook examples of like I'm starting to feel this is more of a James Mangold movie than it feeling like an Indiana Jones film. Because one of the things I appreciate with how Spielberg directed his action scenes is that his stuff doesn't feel chaotic, or he doesn't draw things out longer than they need to. Like, and he knows how to pace his action scenes really well. He doesn't use he doesn't have that typical high octane fast paced action scenes, like he lets he has wide shots, he keeps the camera still, it's smooth tracking shots. It like the his scenes doesn't feel like it's just going bam 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 bam, while he does have a lot of stuff going on even in Crystal Skull, because there is a lot going on in that chase sequence in the forest, but you're able to take everything in because he paced it a lot, he paced it really good. That chase scene after the auction, it just felt so like bam bam bam, let's go 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 go. I'm just like, okay, wow, it's just a lot of stuff is happening at one time, and it's like he's going so fast, it almost made me feel like when I'm watching J.J. Abrams direct the Star Wars films, because his pacing is very similar to that, where everything's just going bam, 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 go, 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 and I'm just like, okay, slow down, man. That's kind of how I felt
Yeah,
with that.
because like there's obviously the stuff with Matt Mikkelsen's character, but then there's these other characters that are coming in
Yeah, like yeah,
that have something with
yeah,
Helena.
yeah. I'm just like, where did that come from? Like this gangster, like this crime boss, whatever, is like in love with Helena, and like she left him, and now he's chasing them, and I'm like, huh? Okay. I just like, I don't know. I don't know.
It feels like they're trying to mimic that part in Last Crusade where during the stuff with the tank scene, you before Indy, Sala, and Henry Sr. are about to rescue Marcus, you got that group that's protecting the Holy Grail coming in and trying to stop the Nazis. It's like they're trying to replicate that, but it's like no, that was timed perfectly well. It wasn't like Indy's fighting against both them and Nazis. It's like no, these two groups are duking it out. And Indy and the others are using this as like their distraction to getting horses to trying to get on that tank. It's like it's all happening all at once.
Right, because like this chase scene, you have like, well, first of all, they're Helena and the short round knockoff is driving one bike, and then Indy's driving the other bike, and then he crashes one of the bikes, and then he jumps onto the one that Helena's on, and then they jump over stairs or whatever, and then they almost collide into cars, and then they just like, whoa, all this stuff is happening at once. I'm just like, oh, and then the other guy's shooting at them while they're trying to chase after Mads Mikkelsen's character. It's all going so fast. I'm just like, wow, goodness gracious. And then even Harrison Ford is doing stuff that I feel like he shouldn't be able to do at his age. Like he's flipping around and like avoiding these hits from the cars. I'm just like, is he able to do that at his age? I'm just like, I don't understand this.
Especially because like for the majority of the film, I will say I think they did a pretty good job compared to Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, recognizing that Indy's older and he
Mm-hmm.
can't do certain stuff anymore. Because Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he was doing all this stuff that was like no 60-year-old should be able to do without complaining that their body's hurting them. Because he was so clean in that film, and it drove me insane.
He was like even but like yeah, even in that, like they knew when to pull back, like because they didn't have him jump from car to car and fencing in the forest scene. They mostly had Mutt do that stuff, which was smart.
Yeah,
And then even when he was fighting that muscle dude while the fire ants was around him, even he was having a hard time with that. So I was like, they knew when to like pull back. They didn't treat him exactly like he was in his 30s and 40s,
yeah.
but yeah, like in this, like even when Indy's like punching guys, I'm like, I don't know if he has the strength to actually knock somebody out from one punch anymore. Like that, I don't know. That feels a bit far fetched, but I'm so glad they didn't try and have him be in another fight with the muscle guy. Because like when I saw the muscle guy, I was like, oh, please don't have Indy
Well,
try and fight him.
here's the thing: there's some missed opportunities in this film because to me, what they could have done is you remember like Raiders of the Lost Ark. You have the swordsman that looks like a badass, and you think a big fight's gonna ensue, but Indy just like shoots him.
Yeah.
That's like you could have like replicated that in here. It's like have it where like Indy just like shoots a person that looks like they're gonna be a cool fighter, because like that would fit in old Indy in my opinion.
Oh, do
Be
you know?
like, I don't want to deal with this. Bang.
Oh yeah, that actually makes sense. But I think do you know what that moment actually is in the movie? It's instead of doing that, you remember in the trailer when he was pulling out the whip, and he was uh, pushing those all those people back, and then they all pull out guns on Indy. I
Oh yeah,
think
I remember,
I think
yeah.
that was their moment there. That was the moment they were trying to replicate from
Well,
Indy
I
shooting the
did
guy.
I did like that scene. I did like that scene a lot.
Yeah.
No, it's like I did enjoy this movie, but it's like there were so many things they could have just done so much better with. It's like it's one of those things that simple mistakes that you could have just easily fixed or you just could have cut out.
Yeah.
That's what always annoys me with movies like this, where some of the stuff is very good. There's a lot of promising stuff, but
Hmm.
then the simple mistakes, Blue Jay. Oh my goodness, Blue Jay. The simple mistakes, whether it's how you handle a character or
Hmm.
how long you make a scene.
Hmm.
And the thing is, it's even though I think Mangold did well replicating some of the Spielberg stuff, there's also some stuff that I could tell there was an obvious difference between Mangold and Spielberg. For starters, like how they handled Antonio Banderas' character. Now, this was basically the Sala during the adventure for a brief moment where Indy relies on an old friend to help him out, and he helps him out without a problem. They have a good relationship.
Hmm.
But then he gets killed off.
Yeah.
And it's like if this was Spielberg, he would have probably spared that character.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like imagine if like in Raiders, after Sala climbs out of the well, and and Belloc and the Nazis have discovered them, and they're about to push Marion down. Right before that, they just kill Sala. Like imagine if like that's how Raiders win.
Hmm. Yeah. That they were probably he was probably treating it like Alfred Molina in the beginning of Raiders, kind of like that, because like he's seen like because he gets abruptly killed, and we're led to believe that we're supposed to follow him with Indy, and then he betrays them, and then I don't
But
know.
that's the thing. Like Antonio Banderas' character didn't betray Indy.
Yeah, yeah,
But I'm pretty sure if he was able to, he could have helped Indy out more.
yeah, yeah. And you get such a big actor like Antonio Banderas, and like you give him such a minuscule role. I don't understand that.
I felt like Antonio Banderas, while he gave a very good performance, I did like his character. He kind of felt wasted.
Yeah. Yep. And then the whole thing with the dial itself, I was just like, I didn't understand what they were trying to do at the end. I don't know.
I, I mean, I prefer it over the Crystal Skull as far as MacGuffins go.
Yeah, I guess, but just like the way they actually went back in time with the dial was I I don't know. I was a bit confused and underwhelmed. I was like, okay, so they go into the clouds and they treat that as a portal to go back in time, and then they go to the time of Archimedes, and what?
It's like I'm gonna be honest. This makes more sense to happen in the Indiana Jones universe than aliens existing. But it's just bonkers.
Yeah, it's pretty bonkers.
It's the craziest ending, and it's like I don't mind time travel in Indiana Jones because we had a knight that has been around for several hundred years at the end of Last Crusade, waiting for someone to take the Holy Grail.
Yeah,
So I wouldn't eliminate time travel.
I think time travel could kind of work in Indiana Jones, but just like the way they handled it, I just had a lot of questions. I don't know. And then the whole thing of Indy trying to stay in that timeline at the end, I'm just like, what?
It was like a James Mangold thing to do, to
It,
basically make have the character have some kind of like death or something. But luckily that didn't happen.
like that just felt so. What's up, Blue Jay?
Hey, Blue
Um,
Jay.
I just I don't know. That just felt so forced. Like he feels like I have nothing else to live for, so I'm gonna stay in this time for what? For what? You know that could change the course of history if you stay there. Like
This is the same guy that always says don't mess with forces. Like this is the same guy who literally said, "Listen to the night, Elsa," and like said like you don't know what you can do if you open that arc. Like this is
yeah,
the same guy that's always like very strict when it comes to dealing with supernatural forces.
yeah. So like now you're just like I have nothing else to live for, so I just gonna stay in this timeline with Archimedes. What?
This is actually where I actually do like Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character because she punched him when he's like talking nonsense and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna punch you and bring you back to our time because you're just talking nonsense at this point." The
I
one
mean,
cool thing she does.
yeah, that's what the one good thing that she did. Um, but yeah, the all of that just felt like a reshoot. How they just abruptly just end the movie like that. That's how they wrap stuff up, is like that. And yes, while we do have the beautiful moment between Indy and Marion at the end, like the just the Sala and his kids and Helena going somewhere, and then we pan up to Indy's hat hanging up outside their window, and then you have that goofy cartoon black circle around it, and then what the hell was that? What the hell was that?
I love the ending, but it was like weird at the end with the hat. Although I love that at least Sala got to sing one of his classic songs.
That felt like legit nostalgia strings right there. It's like, oh, remember that from the previous movie? Oh, we're gonna do it here. Ah.
I mean, it could have been even more over the top. They could have had like Short Round and Willie also come through the door.
Oh
They
Lord.
could have had Jim Broadbent's character that was briefly in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull appear and be like, "Hey, I was in an Indiana Jones movie. Remember me?"
God, man, I'm just like,
And then
what?
Muck comes back from the dead and say, "Hey,
Oh.
Indy. Hey, Dad."
Or wait, it turns out that he survived Vietnam. It's like that. Like, oh my goodness.
Like this is how you end the great saga of Indiana Jones? Like,
Well, here's the thing. I like the stuff with Indy and Marion, like
yeah,
like reconciling at the end, like that. I thought was very sweet and adorable because it's done in classic fashion, where they're saying, "Where does it hurt here?" and then a kiss, and then here, then a kiss. But the other stuff, it just
like we don't even get like the I know this is the nitpick thing, but just this goes back to just like it's just Spielberg would have done this it's so attention to detail with the other movies. Why didn't we get the credits rolling while they're all walking away, I guess, and then the slow fade to black like we did with the other movies, and then the music's playing there instead of just doing the goofy cartoon, and then you just doing it on the hat.
That's
And
all,
then,
folks.
yeah, and then they play, and then blackout, and the credits playing the score. I'm just like, what the? I don't know. Like in the audience, the audience I was in when I watched this, like there was like a audible befuddled when the credits played. They were like, what? They were like, oh, okay. That's how my audience was. It was like, oh, all right, that's it. All right, okay, that was odd.
Uh,
Um,
Blue Jay, what were your thoughts on this movie?
I will be straight up. Personally, I am. I'm not as big as Indiana Jones as most people are. I remember. Well, I think I remember. I haven't seen the other ones in a long time though. But I do remember watch. I do like say, hey, I did watch at least one. I did watch more than one. I think like Raiders was like back at high school and stuff. It's been a while. I am familiar with Indiana Jones. I remember playing the fucking Lego Indiana Jones game for Xbox. That's how much I remember Indiana Jones, and I was bored as usual. So I was like, that Indiana Jones movie looks awesome, so I'm gonna go see this thing. I enjoyed it. I really did. I really did. I probably, if I had the time, I didn't have the time. I was like, really been working my ass off lately. But like, I really
Same.
should have just rewatched some of these movies so I can get a fresh thought before I went to go see this thing. Um, but I don't know about you, but I actually found myself having a good time with it. I didn't think it was too long. It was like something the underwater scene I thought was like a little too long a bit. Like everything was very slow, and literally like the eels and stuff was like, and it's like he's gonna be okay. like
Uh,
they turn him into a freaking superhero at this point. I mean, he's 80 years old. He doesn't get like shocked or anything like that. You know. I did like the first 20 minutes. I really like the first 20 minutes of this thing. The de-aging was I never thought it looked all that great, really. I think from like I'm very like every time I see like very like CG things, like CG faces, I always look very closely at it to see how well they did. It doesn't look all that great to me. I mean, I previous efforts they've from particularly from Disney, they did it better. But I mean, they did what they could. It looked decent. And what else? Phoebe Waller Bridges character, I am kind of mixed on. I don't. She's not particularly annoying, but she can kind of get on my nerves a bit. Just I, I don't know. Just her character is something. It's like in and out for me. And because I was a bit I was a bit like, why they bring this little kid with us? I was like, okay, now I know. I was like, I know because I felt like fireworks. I felt like he came out of nowhere. It's like, oh wait, oh, so you're part of the ride? Like, wait, where the fuck you come from? I guess he's part of the crew. I guess.
Yeah.
yeah, the little short round knockoff.
Yeah, he just like they'd be like we're doing the chase scene. It's like, wait a minute, this kid's still over here.
Yeah, I was like, this kid's gonna be in here for the whole film, isn't he? He is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it didn't bother me. Like the kid's cool. Don't get me wrong, the kid's pretty cool. It's just like he come out like there was not really a build up. I thought he was just gonna be like one scene, one off character, and then just like, oh, you're part of the ride, I guess. Okay, I guess so.
Oh, but you couldn't bring Sala. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, who wanted to come? By the way, Saul was like, I got my passport ready to go.
Well, I guess it's not like, well, we got two old ass dudes and one woman and one young woman, and
Oh my god. But it's like you could have still kept the kid around. You could have been like, okay, we got two old friends. We got a goddaughter, who's become a bit selfish, and we got this random kid, and
yeah,
then we can keep Antonio Banderas alive for the rest of the movie. And it's like, yeah, here's our crew.
Yeah, it's a crew.
The time travel part of the movie, I was a little like, what? I was like, what? Like this is it felt like a different movie. I feel because
Yeah.
it felt like you're watching 300 all of a sudden featuring Indiana Jones. Like
Yeah.
like where's a Gerard Butler cameo for Christ's sake?
That's another thing I think you could have trimmed down because it felt like they wasted 10 minutes this plane flying around as this battle's happening down below. I was like, they're just riding this plane. Feels like 10 minutes. I don't think it was 10 minutes, but it felt
Oh,
like
you
10 minutes.
mean the dragons? They're flying
And
down the
dragons.
dragon.
What the hell?
Oh my
Oh my-
goodness.
like I don't know. Like the time travel, I was like, to me, if I almost was thinking like maybe they're gonna like, it's it's I call it would have been called like Indy's greatest hits. I thought they were gonna go back in time to revisit all the other movies and
Th-
shit.
Then it would have been it would have been called Indiana Jones Endgame.
Indiana Jones and the End Game. I don't fucking know.
Indiana Jones, No Way Home.
Oh god.
Because literally, what was Avengers Endgame? As much as I love Avengers Endgame, seeing all the best hits of the MCU, phases 1 to 3. No Way
Yeah.
Home, the best hits of all the Spider-Man movies from 2002 to now.
So yeah, like what else? Like I'm trying to think because I saw this movie yesterday, and like I said, I liked it. I probably need to just watch the other movies again because I haven't really seen them in a while. Because I've always like a one watch type thing. Like okay, at least I know at least I saw one of them, but that's how I give a shit about Indiana Jones. It's not it's something I was like not that into, but I probably should.
Oh, you should. Well, the original three, like I know DL doesn't like Temple of Doom, but I personally don't mind Temple of Doom. Although Willie Scott in that film annoys the crap out of me.
Awful.
I mean that scene. There's this scene. Did you ever see Temple of Doom, Blue Jay?
I probably might because
Oh,
I
this
think
is like a minor spoiler, but there's a. So I hope you don't mind if I say this. It just
oh
kind
yeah,
of highlights how.
go ahead.
Okay, so there's this scene where they're camping and Indiana Jones and Short Round. They're playing this card game, and it's like fun. It shows like how close these two are. They're like, playfully like accusing the other one of cheating, and it should be a funny scene. It should be a cool, funny scene. And Willie's just like running around, throwing her arms at every single animal, whether it's this kimono dragon, I think that's what that lizard was, to this owl, to whatever else was there. She's just like filling her arms, screaming, and it's very annoying. And it puts Vicky Vale from Batman '89 and Mary Jane from the Raimi Spider-Man trilogy to shame with all her screaming and being useless.
So
Terrible.
she's basically like an embodiment of a character from Cloud Chains and Meatballs, where it's nothing but screaming and flailing her arms around like.
Yeah, it's like, she's just like, she served really no purpose other than whining, complaining, nagging about every single thing that's just happening.
Just ear raking. Just
And,
awful.
and she wasn't entertaining. It's like in Last Crusade, what makes Last Crusade one of my all-time favorite films is Indy has a golden team with him with Henry Jones Sr., Sala, and Marcus Brody. And even though Marcus doesn't contribute to a lot of the action, he has a lot of funny lines. He does a lot of funny stuff that's not annoying.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see all these other movies trying to replicate that, and it's like, no, like Last Crusade did it perfectly. That's why Last Crusade's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's the thing, like the Indy doesn't exactly have a start, doesn't exactly have a great team to work with in retrieving the style.
Yeah, it's like they easily they could get close to what they did in Crusade. They could have the pieces there. They have the pieces there. They refuse not to use them. I just don't understand. You could have had Sala. Maybe if they waited longer, maybe a little longer, or if they would have finished this soon, that maybe they could have got Short Round. I don't know, but like they could
have kept Antonio Banderas alive.
Could have kept Antonio Banderas alive. I would have just completely recast Helena, but I don't know. I don't know.
Heck, even if they just kept the father-in-law alive and just had him and his friend going on an adventure, be like, "Hey, old friend, remember that dial? I found the other piece. Let's go get it together." Right. Okay. Or like he could have been like trying to convince his friend that, listen, this is madness, and they could have just played off each other well enough from there.
Right. Though I'm sure they wanted to get some sort of female representation there somehow, so they probably.
Well, it,
Woke.
well, here's the thing. I have no problem with the actress that they picked. It's not Phoebe Waller-Bridge I have the problem with. It's how she was written that was the problem. Because like I know, like one or two. It was actually 2 years ago. It was around the time I started getting into YouTube. When like I remember like around that time, like all the channels were freaking out about Phoebe Waller-Bridge being casted. And like I'm pretty sure around that time that was back when Enosh on the Poindexter Lounge had his 2 cents on nonsense with Johnny Pop, and they would watch
Yeah, I
Doomcock.
remember that
They
video.
watched the Doomcock videos or like the Phantom Menace videos, like poking fun at the random shit that they were just saying about stuff, the random scoops, and that was one of the and I think that was one of them about everyone freaking out about Phoebe Waller-Bridge being cast.
I think it was it because she played L3 from Solo.
Well, I think also because like she's she was gonna like try to. I think around the time like with No Time to Die, there were rumors that she could be in the film or she was gonna be on as a writer. And she was gonna make the movie woke or something.
Oh, she was there for do punch ups for No Time to Die,
Yeah.
and
By the way, No Time to Die was not a woke movie.
ugh,
So I don't know what everyone was smoking with that one because that was not a woke movie.
Yeah, I actually really like No Time to Die.
Yeah, same here. I thought that was a great movie.
awesome.
But yeah, no, like I remember like it was like Midnight's Edge that did it, and like I used to like Midnight's Edge, but then they
Oh god.
then they took the Doomcock pill and just lost their minds.
Cameron Pasha.
Oh, don't get me started on that guy.
Who is that?
The shit I was doing because he just says nonsense.
Wait, DL don't know who you don't know who Cameron Pasha is?
No.
Oh,
no.
my goodness!
Oh,
Listen, he's this guy. He's apparently the Hollywood insider for the Phantom Menace. You know how, like, on our side of the community, we kind of have Sean O'Rourke?
Mm-hmm.
Well, they have Cameron Pasha. Like, Cameron Pasha was involved in, like, the Tron animated show, I'm pretty sure.
he's a writer on an episode of Tron Uprising, which was disappointing.
Yeah, Tron Uprising. And he did this interview on Geeks and Gamers a few years ago. And it was actually a decent interview. But then, like, he kind of became the Phantom Menace scooper.
Oh,
And it's like whenever this guy appears, it looks like he's on drugs. He looks like he's all like tired out. He uses the word Machiavellian so many times.
I don't know.
It's like you can make it a drinking game for every time he says Machiavellian. He really doesn't like Disney. He doesn't like how Bob Iger or Bob Chapek run the show. Like just in general. And this was before Bob Chapek was making poor decisions.
I see.
Yeah, but like I remember, like, well, one thing that I remember, Doomcock said Indy was gonna die at the end. It was proven wrong.
Yeah, that's not the case.
Bullshit.
I didn't listen to any like leaks that people had or whatever. I really went to it clean.
I really didn't. I mean, I didn't really listen to anything about Indiana Jones really because it was like okay, whatever. And I don't know. I just heard like one story saying that like they were gonna erase. I guess they're gonna like erase the timeline from the previous movies, and it was going to be replaced with Phoebe Waller-Bridge in the outfit. I'm like, okay, get out of here with that. I don't even believe in it. And guess what? It never happened. So let's just throw that out the window and don't listen to any of those motherfuckers.
Please. God, I'm sick of this. This is why I hate doing scoops sometimes.
Scoops are just boring.
Scoopers have ruined movie talk, in my opinion.
They really have. They really have. Like I sometimes get annoyed of it, even if whenever I go on MME, I'm just like, I am sick of these freaking scoops, man.
I'm just sick of. I'm like every time he just will go on Grace Randolph, I'm like, I'll just wait till you get take the video down before I go on. Okay.
Well, listen. Like, it ain't just Grace Randolph videos for like, or people sharing Grace Randolph videos on Twitter. It's the fact that like people like My Time to Shine, like all these scoopers. It's like I don't want the movies to get spoiled. Like I literally look, I still enjoy The Flash. I still thought I still had a great time with that film. I still like that movie a lot. But
Mhm.
it's like I remember that film got spoiled a year ago, and I was like, oh wow, I remember this was spoiled when watching the movie. I was like, could you? I probably would be more in awe about this stuff if it wasn't spoiled a year ago for me by scoopers.
I
And
I wasn't spoiled.
there was so many like conflicting reports about what the movie was about. So I didn't even remember half the stuff. So like I pretty much forgot what it was
Well, it's
before I
like this the stuff. It was like kind of the stuff about how like oh like Barry finds out that like there's no metahumans, and like the stuff with Supergirl, the stuff about how Supergirl and Batman died in that movie, like and the stuff about the cameos. Like I remember that stuff was actually spoiled in leaks. Now, the
oh
one thing that didn't happen was the ending where Supergirl and Keaton Batman appear at the end. That didn't happen, obviously, because DC's rebooting. But like I remember, but like based on what was later revealed to be the official ending, that actually was going to be the ending. Except this time they were going to add Wonder Woman and Superman.
oh see, and that's something they should have kept anyway. But yeah,
Yeah, but it's just like Scoopers to me have kind of just like they just ruined the whole thing. I feel like a lot of stuff lately has gotten ruined with movie talk. Like this whole box office thing, where it's like, oh look, this
oh
movie's
my
failing at the
god.
box office, or look at this movie's doing. It's like,
I am so sick of people covering the box office because it's changing every day. You're gonna keep covering when it changes? Like, god damn. We
it's
know
it,
everything's underperforming. Thanks for telling us. We know. We know.
it's like people do realize that movie competition has actually kind of gone up. Like this is the most packed June that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, you had
Yeah,
Spider Man, you had Transformers, you had Indiana Jones, you had The Flash.
I mean, no, don't get me wrong. I had a good time seeing all these movies and stuff.
Oh yeah, same here. But
Me
like
too.
this was a packed month.
Yeah.
March was a packed month for crying out loud.
Yeah, they should never do this again. Like never release blockbusters week after week ever
That's
again.
I never understood. I never really understood that. Like I'm thinking from a business perspective. Like say if you're a studio exec, and if you want your movie to do well, why the fuck would you put your movie in June where all the other movies going to be there? Like I like Rise of the Beast. I wouldn't mind waiting a couple months more. Didn't want the movie
Yeah.
to do well to get more Transformers movie off the ground.
Yep.
I wouldn't mind.
Isaac actually summarized it perfectly. Box office fights is just dorks fighting over which millionaires make more money.
Yeah. That's
Yes,
pretty much
Basically.
what it is. Yes.
yes, Isaac. That this is 100% true. It's like, look, I would as much as I would like to see these movies make more money. That's not going to impact how much I enjoy a movie. I mean, one of my all-time favorite movies, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, it was a box office failure. But that still doesn't take away from how much I love that movie. I watch that movie at least once a
I
year.
I even like Titan AE, the Don Bluth movie that the under Fox. That movie bombed so badly it shut down a studio. It shut down
There's
Fox Animation Studios, and I actually love that movie. I've seen that. I watched the movie when I was like what? I first watched it when I was like what 15, 16. I was like, man, this movie's freaking awesome.
the Suicide Squad underperformed. That's one of my favorite DCEU movies.
Alita Battle Angel.
Oh no, yes, Alita Battle Angel. We just
Give
got done
me a
talking about
sequel, please.
Phantom Menace. You know what? That's one thing I'm going to agree with the Phantom Menace on. Alita Battle Angel was a very good movie.
Mm-hmm. Or recently, Dungeons and Dragons. I really liked
I
that
still
movie, but it underperformed.
I still gotta watch that
Unfortunately.
movie.
Yeah, it was really, really good. That deserves sequels. That's probably one of the reasons why they keep covering the box office because they want to see what movies like are successful enough where they can continue off of whatever franchise they want to.
Which I'm not gonna lie, it's interesting conversation, but it's still like it just people use that as an argument to dictate the quality of the movie. Like no matter
Oh,
how
look, the box office is bad. That means it sucks.
like because I'm not woke, Gina Carano. Like even people like it is. I don't fucking know. Like
Well,
it's ridiculous.
if that was the case, the award-winning darling, Everything Everywhere All at Once, nobody went to see that. So I guess that movie sucks.
I
Or how
guess.
about this? Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was the lowest-grossing Spider-Man movie to ever come out. It made less money than the movies like Amazing Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 3. And yet, most of us consider it one of, if not the best Spider-Man movie ever made, or one of them. And yes, I know we're woke, Isaac.
Get woke, everybody.
I'm sick of that word. I'm so
Oh
sick
my
of
god.
it.
That word has less meaning of all time. I like
See,
every time I to be honest, when people use the word woke, they have the IQ of this guy
oh my goodness.
every
Listen,
every time.
look. The thing is, movie criticism. This is where movie criticism has changed for the worst, in my opinion. I know we kind of talked about how in the Flash stream, how movie like it feels like movie talk. It's either a movie's got to be a 10 out of 10 or a 1 out of 10 or an A plus or an F.
No
It's
in
like
between.
here's the other problem with movie talk. It's like a movie's bad if it's woke. That's the only reason it's bad. You can't say like, oh, like I enjoyed this movie, but it's got problems. Like how I feel about this movie. It's like I enjoyed this movie, I had a good time with this movie, but I did have some issues with this movie. This is where the movie compares to the other Indiana Jones movies or other blockbuster movies that have recently come out, whether it did things better or worse. It's like we can't have an in between where we're like, I like this stuff. I was let down by this stuff. I would have liked to have seen more of this. They did well with this. It's like what has happened to movie criticism, or it's like box office. It's like what is one thing some of us like to talk about? Transformers. One of the
Mm,
worst Transformer movies to come out, made $1 billion worldwide in Age of Extinction.
yep.
For crying out loud.
hmm Oh
Revenge
god.
of the Fallen made over $900 million worldwide.
Yep.
I mean, for
My
goodness sakes,
boys.
like the first Transformers movie, Bumblebee and Rise of the Beast, I consider to be the best Transformer movies, and they made the least amount of money.
Mainly because they gotta like really have to regain their regain their reputation back with a bunch of people and stuff. So
And Captain Marvel, and look, like I'm not the biggest fan of Captain
Captain
Marvel.
Marvel made $1 billion. How?
Thank you, thank
How?
you. And look, I have problems with that movie not because of Brie Larson, not because it's woke or anything. I just found it to be a very bland movie, and in my favorite phase of the MCU, Phase 3 is my favorite phase of the MCU because that had some of my favorite movies in the MCU.
Mm,
It had some enjoyable movies, and also Spider-Man was introduced in this phase.
mm.
But good lord, Captain Marvel was a bland movie. Not because it was woke. I actually enjoy Brie Larson as an actress. I liked
I
her a lot in Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I don't think Brie Larson's a good actress at all.
Oh
Okay,
my god.
I won't say at all. I won't say at all. There are times where she does slightly try. I surprisingly liked her in Fast 10, but not Captain Marvel. Not at all.
Yeah, she could have been so like I think she could have been a good Captain Marvel, but the script that she was given, the screenplay. But it's like this weird box office battle that we're all of a sudden having where it's like, look how much the Flash is
Oh
underperforming.
my god, it's a disaster.
Or
oh my god.
well, here's the thing. I see all these videos over exaggerating. Like I saw a video saying that Dial of Destiny is the worst movie of the year. I was like,
No,
wait, what?
it is
See,
not.
okay,
No,
there's people I do follow on Twitter, and there's some people that I like. Some they like to troll. Some of them make some of the most exaggerated comments. I do, and I just want to push back. But so I think they were like Ant-Man Quantumania is the worst movie of the year. I'm like, well, we're like 2 months in, my boy. So
I
wait.
mean, it's not one. It's definitely like not one of the best MCU movies, but I wouldn't even go as far as say it's the worst MCU movie.
I mean, look, it's it's Twitter. They make the most hyperbolic bullshit you've ever seen in your life. So
Oh my
it's there's
goodness.
no point in getting emotional about it.
It's like, but like I'm seeing people saying like the Flash is the worst movie of all time. I was like, hell no, no. Like
They have no idea.
in
They
a
just
world
lost
where
all
you
meaning.
got where you got Justice League in that film universe, Wonder Woman 1984 in that film
Yes,
universe.
that's definitely not the worst DCEU movie. Please stop with
For
that.
first of all, like, look, maybe like people will disagree with me. I think it's in the top 5 of the DCEU. I know that's not a high bar, but like, let's be real here. Like there are so many comic book movies that are a million times worse than the Flash.
Oh yeah,
I've never seen you this angry, George.
No, I'm just like so like just like look watching some of these videos. It's just like the seeing the box office thing. It's like I'm seeing people in the community even like taking a stand against this kind of stuff. Like I think like Matt Jarbo had a stream last night basically saying like this battle royale is
Oh
stupid.
yeah, that was a good stream. That was a good video when he talked about that stuff. Like he made so many good points, and I've been kind of saying him a little bit.
hmm
And I know he loved Indy 5 more than we did. He's very high on that movie as well as Sean O'Rourke, higher than I am. But it's like they make good points. It's like this movie, like they people act like this movie was a disaster. It's like yes, movie had problems, but it's not a disaster. It's like this was not Last Jedi. This was not the Last Jedi.
I keep seeing those comparisons as I said earlier. Like this is the last Jedi of
Well,
Indiana Jones. Like
I don't see that with this movie. It's like yeah, Indy's older, but it's like the world's also changing around him, and he's trying to adapt to that world.
hmm
By the way, those college kids actually capture college kids today.
unfortunately.
Like I know that's like in the '60s, but still, like it's like I like how like it shows how times have changed because I remember in Raiders and Last Crusade, I know the girls were attracted to Harrison Ford, handsome young Indiana Jones, but even the male students were like, "Oh, this guy's interesting." Like, remember in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, after the chase sequence, one of his students was like, Dr. Jones, I have a question."
hmm
Like, even back then that movie took place like 10 years before this movie came out. Like, students were still interested in his class.
Yep. But once the astronauts went up, children only wanted to play with space toys.
Oh my goodness, Toy Story 2 right there. I actually watched that last night, by the way.
Cool. Cool.
And I remember that. It's like once they went to space. Yeah, Gen Z, like I'm sorry, I don't understand Gen Z. I mean, I grew up with Indiana Jones. I've been watching Indiana Jones since I was 12 years old. I always try to watch these movies at least once a year.
hmm
Or at least the first three. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, it's kind of been like 9-10 years until I rewatched it before this movie came out for my review of that.
hmm
But it's just like people just have this weird obsession with certain stuff nowadays, like the box office, like where it's
Yeah.
like saying like these movies is horrible, it's the worst thing ever. It's like it's not the worst thing ever from
I
Lucasfilm.
think look, I think people need to realize is that Twitter is not the like social media in general. It's not the end all be all. There's people who like think like a movie's gonna flop and stuff, and then they come in and the movie making a lot of money. Like there's mostly people who don't have social media. There are people who talk with each other naturally. Not uh, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's
I mean, well, Isaac, I think the other thing is the Indiana Jones movie that came out when for like Gen Z or millennials was Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and that probably didn't make the strongest impression for the franchise.
No.
I mean, my sister, that was the first. She told me that was the first Indiana Jones movie she watched because and like she didn't care for that movie. So it's like, yeah, that's gonna be your first Indiana Jones experience. That you ain't gonna really care for the franchise unless you watch the other movies, which are phenomenal and entertaining. It's like I'm watching. I'm like, this is how a blockbuster should be.
hmm
Like the exposition scenes in the original Indiana Jones movies, there's always something interesting happening. during them. Like Raiders, the scene with where you don't know if Indy's gonna eat one of those poison dates.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even Temple of Doom, like you had the gross food happening during the exposition scene, and
Oh gosh.
I mean it's entertaining, like, but yeah, eyeball soup was just that kind of drew the line for me at that point.
Monkey brains. But
Diary of a Wimpy Kid.
but yeah, and even like I understand like at the time like those Indiana Jones films were like they paved the way for action scenes today. Like they set the standard for like action set pieces for the time. So I get why people are complaining about all the visual effects in Indiana Jones now because it doesn't feel as immersive as the original three. But like that's probably another reason too because it just feels like another it just feels like another generic action movie if they relying so much on visual effects, I guess. But I don't
Because the other ones are more, well, the first three are more practical. This
Yeah.
is just very CG heavy.
yeah,
Well, I will say the CGI in this film is a lot better than the CGI in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
yeah, yeah.
Because the CGI gophers, I was like,
I never understood that.
but
Why
here's
why?
the thing: Indiana Jones was known. The first three films were known for actually having real snakes and tarantulas and rats,
Yeah,
and it's like you CGI gophers.
CGI gophers, CGI monkeys. Like what? What? Why?
Be-
I understand having CGI bugs, CGI ants, but did you really need to CGI the gophers? And did you really have to give them um moments
because
that feel like they belong in a prequel Star Wars movie?
because gophers are dangerous on set, you guys. We gotta know this. Like monkeys can be very dangerous on set. Like, come on, like
They had
no animals are harmed in making of this film. Okay,
they had snakes, alligators, and rats in the older movies.
Those were
because
real. Listen,
there were
the
backlash
beginning
at the time. I'm
of
kidding.
Raiders with Alfred Molina and Harrison Ford, those were real tarantulas that were non-lethal that they put on them.
Like really, you didn't have to cut. Like I felt like Spielberg and Lucas were really cutting corners with Crystal Skull, but like they really did. If you have to use visual effects, fine. But like when it's absolutely necessary, it was not necessary for them to add the CGI gophers and the CGI monkeys. They did not need that.
Well, in the next Flash movie, there's going to be a CGI meet according to Isaac. That's Isaac Scoop.
What do you mean another Flash movie? What are they talking about?
Oh my god, a CGI George. Oh my god, what would a CGI Diablo look like? I would have nightmares. I'm kidding.
Wow. Okay.
I'm
Oh
just
my!
I'm kidding.
But
They don't need
also,
to. They don't need to DH me because I've been looking the same the past 20 years.
You know what?
everyone at
I
work,
will actually look more realistic than myself in CGI. I'm not gonna lie.
everyone at work thinks I'm 20 when I'm going to be 27 in October. So,
Yep.
I mean, I'm like actually one of the older ones at work. But
Hmm.
also, I will say the lighting in this film at least was a lot better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because right from the beginning there's this glare, light shining that was like this is very bright. And then
Okay.
it's like every scene after that was very bright.
I'm gonna slightly disagree with you on that. I think Crystal Skull, and Dial of Destiny are like two opposites of two opposites of the extremes. So I do agree with you that the lighting in Crystal Skull was very bright, really really bright. But I felt like the lighting in Dial of Destiny was really dark in places, really dark in a lot of places, especially the opening 20 minutes. Like it was so dark, probably because they wanted to hide the imperfections of the de aging. But even like after that, even after that, I'm like, why is it so shadowy and dark? And the only bright scene in that movie was in New York, and I guess
Yeah.
like at the very end when they were meeting Archimedes, but like everything else was just like, why is it so shadowy? Goodness gracious!
I think they were trying to imitate the lighting style of Temple of Doom and Raiders, but it's like it felt like they to me, Last Crusade had a perfect lighting where it was brighter than the first two, but it wasn't too bright.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Last Crusade is like the best looking of the Indiana Jones films.
Yeah, like to me, like, well, I mean, Last Crusade is my favorite as well. I know it's your favorites as well, DL, but it's also my favorite. It's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Anthony, and according to Isaac, you're going to be CGI'd as well, DL.
Oh, great! Am I Hal Jordan in a certain dimension? I mean, I'm sorry, John Stewart. Why did I say Hal Jordan? I don't want to be a white guy.
Oh my
No,
gosh, I was about to say
no, no,
something.
no, 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 no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, oh my.
Unless they race swapped Hal Jordan in a dimension, I don't know. And he's 5'7", but
It's just like to me, it's like I look at Dial of Destiny, I'm like, they're doing things better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull,
yeah,
but it's like they're still nowhere near as good as these original 3. Although some people might say might prefer this over Temple of Doom.
myself.
So like I'm not gonna like. So I'll say like the 2 phenomenal ones that everyone agrees are perfect to near perfect. Raiders and Last Crusade. It's like it wants to be that, but it's being held back by the too long scenes at times. This character that's very self-absorbed, and it's like the reason why his goddaughter wants the dial. It isn't for the right reasons. It isn't like Henry Jones Sr. wanting the Grail because he sees it as a battle against evil, and he's doing it for noble reasons. It isn't like Mutt wanting to go on this quest with Indy to go find his mom in Oxley.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so the fact that Helena's doing this for the money. Because she has gotten into so much trouble. She's like walking chaos.
She is. She really is, and it just makes it hard to like get behind her as a character, or be sympathetic towards her, root for her, when she's the cause of a lot of the bad stuff that's happening in the movie.
Oh, and here's a scoop: Anthony Beltrie's going to direct Morbius too.
Oh, you're going to direct more BS? Thank you.
More BS. Oh, more BS. Oh, that's a good one.
Yep.
Well, I mean, Craven's. We should call Craven more BS because that's more Sony BS, but that's a different story for another time.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Oh my god, like, good lord, it's like this character. She ain't even going for the dial for noble reasons or saying I want to finish what my father started and honor his memory. Like that would have been a way better reason. It's like I want to finish my father's work and I want to do what he started.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, I'm gonna find this dial so I can sell it so I can split money with this random kid that I found.
Mm-hmm. I just I can't deal with this, man.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god.
Okay, what?
Isaac, oh my goodness. I don't even want to pull up the other thing that he saw. He said.
That came out of nowhere. That just got me laughing.
I will say I found it interesting about Mads Mikkelsen's villain actually being a Nazi that was gonna go back in time to kill Hitler to do things what he thought what Germany should have done.
Mm-hmm.
Because usually the other Nazi villains it's always been about, oh, we're gonna do this for Hitler. In this case, it's like, no, I'm doing this for the glory of my ideology, kind of thing. So I like that they changed the motivation, because at first when they're going after the lance at the beginning of the film, it's like, oh, this is just another MacGuffin that feels similar to the other two. Hitler wants it because it's gonna make him powerful.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's like, no, we're gonna do this because you know what Hitler failed, and you know what, I'm gonna do what Hitler failed to do. That's basically what like Mads Mikkelsen's character is doing. So I like that the motivation felt different.
Yeah. I just Bro tried to. Okay.
Wow.
I mean, Walt was a Nazi sympathizer, you know.
I mean, he's ain't wrong.
But yeah, I just wish Mads Mikkelsen was able to chew up scenery a little bit more. I know he's capable of doing it, but like the roles he's been having as of late, like he's always seems to be very subdued, give us the stoic performance, I just wish that he was able to do just a little bit more
I
with it.
mean, he was better than Spalko from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, in my
They seem
opinion.
pretty even to me. They seem pretty even as far as
I was just like, and it's like Kate Blanchett's capable of playing a good villain. She was a good villain in Thor Ragnarok, in my opinion.
she's one of the best villains in the MCU.
So like,
Even though I don't like Ragnarok, she is one of the best villains in the MCU.
but it's like compared to some of the other villains. I mean, Balaram in Temple of Doom literally ripped a guy's heart out of his chest and sacrificed the dude.
Oh Lord, Kalima, get out of here with that shit. God.
I mean, look, I'll be honest. The original Indiana Jones movie, some of the villains were a bit over the top.
They
I mean,
were.
Belloc, as much as I like Belloc as a villain, he was over the top at times. I mean, Mala Ram, he had like a Saturday morning cartoon villain escape scene at one point.
Yeah.
And Donovan in Last Crusade was like, he kind of felt a bit stereotypical, but it's like, it felt like everyone had their like good motivations and did what they needed to do as villains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just like, I just think, like, I'll be honest, when it comes to Matt Mikkelsen, I feel like the only movie I felt like he was really wasted in was the first Doctor Strange.
Yeah. I would say so.
It's like you get an actor who's very good at playing villains, and he basically plays a forgettable villain that's kind of, I guess, like the Mystic Arts version of Obadiah Stane in Yellow Jacket. Like, that's basically kind of what it felt like. It was like a throwaway villain that's no different from Yellow Jacket and Obadiah Stane, except he uses the Mystic Arts. He doesn't use other suits.
Mm.
And
I personally liked him as Grindelwald in Secrets of Dumbledore. I thought.
Yes, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I think he was a better Grindelwald than Johnny Depp. And look, I love Johnny Depp, but I think Mads Mikkelsen was a better Grindelwald in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it stinks that he got recast, but Mads Mikkelsen, I thought he filled the role pretty good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind seeing more of him in that role. Unfortunately, I don't think they're gonna, because the Fantastic Beasts movies, they lost their flavor and they kept underperforming.
Unfortunately, now we're getting a reboot of Harry Potter.
See, I think here's the thing. I think Disney's gonna wait until Harrison Ford passes away.
Oh, that sounds a little fucked up.
I mean,
I think they're gonna wait to do that.
I think that sounds about right. That's one of the reasons why we don't have a Back to the Future reboot, is because Robert Zemeckis is still alive.
It's like, this is the one character. Listen, I know a lot of people call Harrison Ford the old curmudgeon of Hollywood, but like, he loves Indiana Jones. He loves this character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he cares more about this character than the character that did put him on the map, Han Solo.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It was a great butt back.
Oh, it was great to have Mutt back. Oh, never mind.
Blue Jay, what'd you think about how they handled Mutt's absence in this film?
We don't need Shia LaBeouf's crazy yet, so like, let's kill him off. I mean, I guess I forgot Shia LaBeouf was in Crystal Skull. Sometimes I was like, oh yeah, he was in an Indiana Jones movie. I was like, okay,
but you know what? He was not the worst thing about that movie. That was in between the Transformer movies as well.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because he was like everywhere and shit.
Yeah.
Well, he was like Steven Spielberg's golden boy at the time. Because you got to remember, Steven Spielberg was a big producer in those first couple Transformer movies.
Yeah.
Then like Child lost his mind. I remember. I'm not gonna play because I don't want a copyright strike. But I remember someone in college showed me this clip of a Shia LaBeouf song.
What?
Someone made a Shia LaBeouf song, and it was just the craziest thing I had ever seen. It was just like, oh my goodness.
Is it with the choir?
Yes.
Okay. And then he was clapping he was clapping in the audience at the end.
Oh, is that what that meme came from? Okay.
It's just like I know he's made some bizarre choices. In a perfect world somewhere where he didn't lose his mind, where he did enjoy his time working on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull and got along with Harrison Ford, he probably would have been the co-lead in this film.
Yeah, I honestly wish. Yeah, I wish they would have been able to figure out a way to do it, but yeah. I
Because
go ahead.
because I think he had a good dynamic with Indy in the fourth film,
Hmm.
where at first the two they're still slowly getting along. He's like talking about what he wants to do, and he's like, do whatever you want. Then when he finds out that he's his son, it's like, you're going back to school.
It's like, yeah, yeah.
But like you could have had a cool story where it's like, maybe Mutt comes back from serving in Vietnam, and maybe like him and Indy's relationship is a bit dour because like Indy didn't want him going to Vietnam. So it's like they're trying to repair the relationship while pursuing this style. Like that would have probably been a better movie than what we got.
Yeah. Yep.
So, so okay, so what are your guys's? What would you rate this movie?
I still I'm still sitting on it, to be honest. I need to watch it again. But I do remember when I gave my initial thoughts on the MMV, I gave it between a 6 and a 7. So maybe 6.5. My opinion might change when I watch it again, but that's kind of how I'm feeling right now.
Okay. If I want to give my Blue Jay style rating,
Oh,
I'll, I mean, it's just I'll do it. It's just me if you want to. I mean, I'll give it like some good ass shit. you
I
know,
I would be like between like some good ass shit and just rent the damn thing. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of between those right now.
yeah, I'm kind of like that too. Fucking fireworks. Hold on.
Yeah, no, the fireworks are freaking annoying. Like where I live, like I live on Staten Island, and like they get so freaking annoying.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
there's like a damn war zone out here. Freaking whatever. Um, what you think? Well, I mean, this is your. I mean, I can think this is my own stream. What you think, George?
Oh, it's all good. I gave the movie a B during my non-spoiler review because again, I thought Harrison Ford gave a very good performance. I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed some of the sequences. I think they improved stuff from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and I gave that movie a C plus because I didn't hate that movie. I did enjoy that movie, but it felt like it was wasted potential at times. And it's like, while the ending was a little bonkers, I did prefer it over the stuff with the aliens in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. But
Mm-hmm.
this movie was way longer than it should have. The Phoebe Waller-Bridge character, for the first half of the movie, she's just chaos incarnate walking around. And it's like there were so many ways you probably could have written this character that could have made this character better, but they had missed the mark on her. But luckily, the second half, she does the redeemable thing and saves Indy. And I'm glad that, even though I wish she didn't have Indy and Marion separate, I'm glad they made up at the end of the film. Like, if anything, what they could have done is maybe have it where, like, they're still married, but things are kind of, strained right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they're trying to work past it, and she doesn't agree with him going on this adventure. And maybe he tells her, I'm doing this because I already lost one kid. I don't want to lose my godchild. And like she maybe understands but doesn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many things they could have probably done because there are emotional stuff in this film. But it's like some things they could have handled better.
Hmm.
It's like some of the things I thought were fine, but it's like, oh, you could have just done this so much better.
Yeah.
So I so later on, I just created a new tier list. So for the movies that came out this month or for June last month and stuff. So it's gonna be very interesting. We have like what 8 movies? I'm sure I'm missing some. There's a shitload of movies that came out.
Hmm.
So yeah, so
Yeah,
maybe not tomorrow. Maybe like what next week or something. If I'm when I'm off, because I'll be tired all the time. So I'll be doing like a tier list for June of 2023 of the movies that came out. Um, so far, out of all the movies, there's two actually. There's two movies I thought were the best of the month. It's either Spider Verse and Nimona. Those are great movies. Nimona's a great movie, by the way.
yeah, I didn't see that one, but I saw you rated it pretty high.
Yeah, it was one of those things like I was waiting for years for this thing because it was originally a Blue Sky film. Then it got canceled by Disney and they shut the shit down and it got revived at Netflix. And I was like, this was worth all that trouble. And everybody got credited. Blue Sky got credited. Everybody was like, man, that was a great send off.
One thing I hear about Netflix is like their animated movies tend to get pretty good reviews. Like the Santa Claus movie they had come out a few years ago.
Klaus.
And the Mitchells versus the Machines I heard was very good.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I fuck man, fireworks. I give I give Nimona a watch. It's actually it was it was really damn good, really damn good. So it's like Spider Verse and Nimona are like neck and neck, really. So uh, we'll see. So I will be doing that probably like next Sunday or Monday or Tuesday. I don't know.
Like we still got quite a few movies to get through this summer. I mean, Mission Impossible.
Oh boy.
Yeah, I was
Oh
rewatching Ghost
yeah.
Protocol today, and I was like, damn, this movie gets better every single time.
Oh, you know what? Shoot, I actually scratched that. I'd rather just wait till fucking all the summer.
Well,
Than
because
just,
we got that. Oppenheimer and Barbie come out the same day.
Hmm.
right.
August. This is actually a, a packed August. You got Ninja Turtles and Blue Beetle.
I think they're just like in. I think just two of those. I can count. I don't know, but I want to see Gran Turismo actually, but I don't think that will actually pull in some competition. You never really know though, because there's a lot of racing fans out here, including me. So
And
I'm definitely
I
gonna.
know. I think there's a DreamWorks movie out. I don't know what it is. I don't think Puss in Boots
Oh,
flopped though.
oh
That
no,
did pretty
that was
good.
Ruby Gilman Teenage Kraken. That movie flopped because Universal they they marketed the movie 3 months before the movie came out.
Yeah,
So
I didn't even hear that about that movie.
exactly, because for some reason, like you had a studio put like DreamWorks that put out Puss in Boots, is a great ass fucking movie, and then you came and then what your next movie you didn't give this movie any chance, any marketing. I haven't seen the movie, but you didn't get this movie any chance to get like to market, and then you have it come out the same day as Indiana Jones, and it already packed a month. It's just like it's almost like it didn't. It just wanted to get it over, get it out the way so they can make room for like their I guess Trolls 3. I don't fucking know.
It's like
Okay.
Universal. They marketed the hell out of Minions: The Rise of Gru and Jurassic Park Dominion last year. And
Hmm.
as bad as Dominion was, it still made $1 billion worldwide, and Rise of Gru made over $900 million worldwide.
See, that's because that was Illumination. Illumination has their own marketing team, and they know
But
how.
they also, yeah, and like Mario.
Yeah, they because they know how to market. Some for some reason, I think they don't know how to market DreamWorks movies for some reason. Like they can still make hits, but DreamWorks has been kind of weird with their marketing lately. Like
I,
it's been weird.
I'll say this: if they ever make Shrek 5, They gotta
Oh,
market
it's
that.
happening. Oh, it's happening.
They gotta market the hell out of that movie.
I can tell. This might be sound crazy. DreamWorks hasn't had a movie that made $1 billion. Shrek 2 almost made $1 billion. You know what that's gonna happen. You know what that means.
I'm not saying make $1 billion, but like, good lord, like market the hell out of Shrek so it actually makes
They're
decent
going to.
money.
They're going
Oh,
to.
they're going
If
to.
they actually take the time to do that, they're going to, because they're very selective. They're going to be like, okay, let's market our pre-existing IP instead of our original content. But I'm not saying make more original films, but you know how very selective these studios are nowadays.
Hmm.
Because like, listen, these kids need Shrek in their lives. Kids say need Shrek in their lives. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Just watch the
Like
first two.
like some of these, listen, some of these anime movies are very good. I mean, I love Across the Spider-Verse, so it's phenomenal. I like the Mario movie, but some of these animated movies nowadays, it's like, it's not that they're bad. It's just some of them kind of feel a bit stale.
Like which one? Like, well, I
It,
mean,
it,
I
it,
like.
it,
I
I
don't know.
mean, DreamWorks. There was a
Well,
time
okay,
where DreamWorks was
well,
like,
here's the thing. DreamWorks is actually, I think DreamWorks does make very good movies.
they do. Well, my problem with DreamWorks is that I think ever since they got, I think what 2016 or 2015, I think they were like kind of in and out for me. Um,
Yeah.
I liked the first Boss Baby, but the sequel was terrible.
I
Um,
Uh,
never understood Boss Baby. I
listen,
I
never
I
I
understood.
hate
like
Boss
the first
Baby.
I like the first Trolls, but I didn't care much to really about the entire franchise itself. But
That's
wh- and
that was for
then
the kids, kiddies.
yeah, but but
Okay.
ever since last year they came out with The Bad Guys, which is a really awesome movie. It's a great movie. And then several months later they came out with Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which was a freaking awesome movie. And then they're coming up with Kung Fu Panda 4. I'm like, okay,
Oh, I can't wait for that.
uh,
That I'm excited
Mm.
for.
okay. So DreamWorks, I'm not saying
I'm
like,
kind of
oh,
mad about the How to Train Your Dragon remake, but that
yeah,
is
it's
what it
like
is.
even like Dreamers, like even their TV shows, their anime series, they're very hit or miss. Like I've seen a
Yes.
couple of shows from them. Some shows they're when they make good shows, they can be banger shows. Like holy shit, they're awesome. But they make some. But when it comes to like their stuff, they're like very mediocre and stuff. They're like, this is a cash grab. Come
Oh,
on.
apparently JJ is gonna turn Hot Wheels into Fast and Furious. That's
No.
like,
Emotional
it's like,
grounded. Oh my fucking god!
I mean,
What are
well,
you
here's the
doing?
thing. What does JJ have at this point? He probably ain't gonna do anything for DC. I can't see James Gunn saying, "Yeah, JJ, let's go make your DC movies."
Go put some care into the Cloverfield movies. How about that?
Wait, what does he mean? Emotional grounded? It's Hot Wheels. What are you
Oh
talking
my god.
about?
What is
Fast
that?
and Furious
No.
is Fast and Furious is Fast and Furious is already a Hot Wheels movie at this point. Why couldn't you just do that? Do
That is
that.
true.
They
That
did
is
a
true,
holy
Anthony.
shit.
Or what about the Star Trek movies? Go back to help me with those.
Yes, because you know what? I'm gonna be honest. I love Star Trek 2009. Look, I love the original Star Trek more, but I love the 2009 film. I actually enjoyed Into Darkness,
Okay.
this,
I,
despite it breaking Star Trek continuity.
Yep,
okay, there is
and Star Trek
one
Beyond
movie.
was really good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was a good one as well.
Yeah.
Okay, I will say that there is one movie I can say I can. It's probably happening. Is that I don't know if you guys know about this. That J.J. Abrams. Look, I like J.J. Abrams, but like J.J. Abrams is producing a Cat in the Hat movie under Warner
Oh
Brothers,
Oh, not again. Not again.
but
no, no.
it's not under the Illumination. It's a Warner. It's Warner Brothers. Warner
Remember
Brothers
the
actually has the rights to Dr. Seuss now, so they can make the movies now. I don't
Uh,
think they're gonna be doing another Grinch.
do we need another nightmare like the one from 2003 with Michael Myers as the Cat in the Hat?
I'm hoping it will be. Well, none of the Illumination movies are good. I'm going to be honest with you,
Li-
but like, I mean, none of the Dr. Seuss movies have been good. But like, even though Warner Brothers did do Green Eggs and Ham, which was one of the better attempts at them adapting the story. So maybe if it's more on that end, it might be okay. But
I'll be honest. I like the Ron Howard Grinch from 2000 a lot. I enjoy that
yeah,
one.
I'm not surprised.
I like
No,
Cat in the Hat as well. Wait, no,
but it's like
What?
like here's the thing. Here's the thing. The difference between the Grinch and the Cat in the Hat is that I feel like the Grinch at least tried showing heart because it's like they explored the Grinch's backstory and like the Grinch actually feels like a character.
Yes, they tried a little harder. Yes, Cat
And
in the
it's like
Hat was just like, oh, I'm here.
and Jim Carrey and Jim Carrey was funny as the Grinch. Where like the Cat in the Hat, I was just like, get this furry
well,
nightmare off.
well, I the scene with the Cat in the Hat doing this whole cooking show and he cut his tail off. He was like, "Son
Son
of a
of a
bitch!"
I want, man. I really want to walk out. I want to walk out when that kid took a baseball bat to his nuts because they thought he was a
Oh
pinata,
god,
and then it went to that. He's like Sunday morning.
this,
I want to leave. I was done. I was so done with that.
Oh yeah, and that was
Shit.
that was the Star Trek movie where the cast had no idea they were returning. It was like, wait, we're returning for a new Star Trek movie?
Yeah, that was embarrassing.
That was like, huh?
I yeah, I don't know. That's why JJ maybe should go back to Paramount and get some stuff in order. I don't know.
I mean, listen, you should probably stick around with Paramount. He made a good Mission Impossible movie with Mission Impossible 3. I just rewatched that the other day. I was like, this is a good movie.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
maybe you should stick to Star Trek and Mission Impossible and stay away from Star Wars and other franchises for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Although I'm gonna be honest, I don't blame JJ for what happened with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
That was Kathleen Kennedy and Ryan Johnson
was-
basically saying, "Yeah, we're gonna do our own thing. Screw you, Colin Trevorrow and J.J. Abrams."
Yeah, they should have had a plan from the beginning. That was their biggest mistake, not laying out a ground map of where they're taking the franchise. Like, no.
I mean, for goodness sakes, when people look at Jar Jar Binks giving emergency powers to Darth Sidious as making more sense in Star Wars than most of the shit that happened in the sequel trilogy, it's like something's off. I know Christopher McQuarrie is doing a fantastic job. I'm just saying, like JJ did make a good Mission Impossible movie. I think he's better off helping produce those movies like he's been doing.
Yeah, honestly, he's like his Mission Impossible help change the direction of the franchise. You know.
Yeah, because I mean, I like the first Mission Impossible, but the second one I just do not care for.
I thought it was fine. It was fine. It gets too much hate.
it's boring. Well, the first hour was boring.
Yeah, it was boring. It's like I rewatched Ghost Protocol today. I was like, man, this movie is like awesome. It's like never a dull moment. And I'm like, Brad Bird should do more live action stuff.
I think he is starting to. I think he's working on a project right now.
Yeah, I think he's making an animated film called Ray Gun, which I think it sounds pretty cool. But
even though I was kind of let down by his Tomorrowland, but that was still the same.
Well, I mean, I don't think they should be making Disney movies based off of stuff at the Disney parks.
I actually thought that was a good idea at first.
I mean, the first two pirate movies I like a lot.
I like Jungle Cruise. That was okay.
Jungle Cruise was okay. Yeah, I'll be honest, that was okay.
We'll see how Haunted Mansion does.
It's like, are we gonna make a movie about the Carousel of Progress? and they're just gonna and they're gonna play during the opening credits or ending credits. It's a great big beautiful tomorrow.
Dude,
Can
I'm
we
waiting for a
make
Space Mountain movie, man. Give me a Space Mountain.
can we make a movie about Rise from Cedar Point as well?
It's like imagine the end credits. There's a great big beautiful tomorrow
Oh my god.
shining at oh my. You know what? I
It's a small world
and
after
look.
all.
I'll be honest because I go to Disney parks every 2 to 4 years. I try to go every 2 to 4 years. I love the Carousel of Progress. It's one of my favorite things at the Disney parks. But if they made a movie about that, you know that they have become creatively bankrupt.
Or they might as go as far as making a Splash Mountain movie. It's like, oh wait, never mind.
No, yeah,
Oh,
yeah, you know what? I remember I actually saw that movie back on YouTube like 12 years ago when I was writing a paper on Walt Disney for high school,
zippity doo dah, zippity day.
and I was like, this movie just feels off for some reason,
For
and
some reason.
it's like, I don't know. It was like my introduction to it was Splash Mountain. I had no idea. I was like, oh, I would love to see what movie this ride's based off of because I love Splash Mountain. And then I
Oh my
see
God.
it, and I was like, oh my lord, what? Like, good lord.
Yeah.
I mean, look, Splash Mountain's a classic ride, but it's like, you know what? I don't mind them changing the ride to something else.
Yeah, Princess and the Frog. Let's go.
Yeah, that's a good one to pick because it's like, uh,
Yeah. But yeah, man, Space Mountain. Let's do it. Space Mountain.
oh my, and it's like, oh yeah, we're gonna make Space Mountain. It's gonna be our new space epic.
Let's make a Star Tours movie.
But that's Star Wars.
I don't care. Let's make a Star Tours movie.
Oh my goodness, I'm trying to think like what other Disney attractions could they make movies off of? Mount Everest, like the movie with the Yeti.
Oh yeah, Expedition Everest with
Oh my goodness, I can see them totally doing that. I mean, look, I don't think they expected Pirates of the Caribbean to get that good of a reception and to do that well. And I think that's what pushed them to be like, hey, let's do all this other stuff.
yeah, let's do Country Bears.
Oh my, no, I don't even want to think about that.
I used to watch the shit out of that movie growing up. It's been a long ass time. Holy country bears.
That Country Bear. You know what? I remember seeing the trailers for that movie, and the first time let's see, I know the first time I went to Disney World was I was 2 years old, but I don't remember a lot from that trip. Next time I went, I was 9 years old, and I remember we did the Country Bear show, and I was like, oh well, I guess the movie was based off of this because I remember the movie trailers. I didn't see the movie at the time, but I remember the trailers for it. So then I saw the movie for it a few years ago after we went to Disney again, and I was like, this movie is garbage.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Can we make a movie called The Disneyland Monorail?
Oh my goodness.
That's gonna make billions of dollars, you guys. Oh my gosh, people
$1
are gonna go
billion.
crazy
Yeah,
over the monorail.
I think, wait, yeah, Disney did make a movie based off the story of making Mary Poppins called Saving Mr. Banks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
apparently that the story in real life was not as happy-go-lucky as it is in the movie.
Well, it never is.
No, because here's the thing: the movie portrayed the author of Mary Poppins kind of being happy with the final product, where in real life the author was not happy.
Mm.
Like she was not happy with how it turned out, and her and Walt Disney did not have that good of a relationship in real life as it was portrayed in the movie.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Like apparently, like the author, in the end, felt betrayed, and she vowed to never permit Disney to adapt her other novels for any purpose, and that her will bans all American adaptation of her works to any form of media.
Mm.
I mean, yikes!
Yikes, indeed.
I mean, so are they gonna make a movie about George Lucas giving the rights to Kathleen Kennedy to make Star Wars?
I don't think they want to do that.
Oh, gee.
I don't think they want to do that. That's gonna expose them
Give
very
it
much.
50 years, you guys. Give it 50 years.
I mean,
But Haunted
if,
Mansion, Haunted Mansion looks all right.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see 90-year-old Doomcock in a few years being like, "This movie will tell the true story that I was right all these years."
Then no die on camera.
Oh gosh, oh my goodness, be like, "I was right after 50-something years."
Oh brother.
It's like, yeah, that they make a movie about that. I'm trying to think of a lot of Disney attractions could they make out of
The
movie.
Haunted Mansion.
Oh man, we're getting another one movie with that.
Yeah,
It looks all right.
looks all right.
I'm kind of surprised it's coming out in theaters.
It does kind of
I'm
feel
surprised
like
it's coming out in the middle of the summer. Like what?
oh yeah, the Halloween-based movie during the summer. It's like okay, all right.
I mean,
You're gonna get swept away by Barbie next week, so
it would make more sense to come out in October when your only competition is Craven the Hunter, and
well, I guess yeah. I think I know why they only put this in July, so they'll put it on Disney Plus on October.
Oh
Yeah.
God! If that's actually the reason, oh my freaking God!
I mean, it was originally going to be on the September actually, but they moved it back to July. So I think because they want this is just silly. It's like oh yeah, you moved it back to so you say so you spend all the money, you made this movie, all the actors are paid, and then you put this movie on July, only to say let's put this movie 3 months later on Disney Plus to celebrate Halloween. That's all. That's all it is.
Wow.
oh my
That'll be
lord,
if that actually if that movie comes on Disney Plus on October on like Halloween season, I will laugh my ass off. I was like, that's what this movie was only made for.
Yeah.
Nothing else but to put it on Disney Plus October.
Yeah.
oh my gosh,
Wow.
it's like you give it the Marvel's original release date just to have it come on Disney Plus in October.
Oh god, that
Oh, I found one they can make a movie on, the Enchanted Tiki Room.
The-
isn't that part of Jungle Cruise?
I don't think so.
I keep thinking Jungle Cruise because
Oh well, they're located in the same area of the Disney Park Adventureland.
They might as well make a movie about the electrical parade.
Oh my
you
goodness!
should make a movie called The Rocket Rods.
Oh wait, you know what? Oh no, legit. Here's legit a movie they could do. They could do Test Track.
Oh, that's
It'll be Disney's Fast and Furious.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, that'll be hilarious.
the sailing ship Columbia. You don't know what that is?
I don't. Yeah, I'm trying to. I don't remember.
It's like it's a scenic cruise that's like so located in like the rivers like somewhere in Disneyland. It's located at the Disneyland park.
Oh, I never been to Disneyland.
Oh,
Yeah, I've been to Disney World many times. I haven't been to Disneyland.
I was looking at Disneyland. I'm gonna look at Disney World. I keep blending in the two.
Actually, it was Disney World that was my introduction to Indiana Jones because of the stunt show.
Yeah, me too. Actually.
I was like, oh, I gotta see this movie now
Oh yeah.
because that stunt show was so cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
Like every time the boulder fell on the guy, I was like, wait, is this part of the show? Because sometimes like they act like that boulder actually wasn't supposed to roll on him.
Right.
Oh, Walt Disney Pictures presents Roaring Rapids.
Oh, by the way, that was one thing I was shocked about the opening of Indiana Jones. The Disney logo appeared at the beginning.
Yeah, that was like that took me off guard because I thought, are we about to get a Disney short? Like, are we like what's going on? But no, and then it just went to the Paramount
But
thing, and then it went to the Lucasfilm, and
because
then
usually, like, Star Wars never had that.
yeah, like is this what we're going to see in the future with other properties? Is Marvel about to show the Disney logo at the beginning?
I, that's. I think I have no idea. That was. I mean, I guess it's just like they want to show the Disney logo because they don't want us to think it's just a Paramount movie. I
I
guess.
guess so. It's so, and once again, this is a nitpicking thing. It's so weird to see the modern Paramount logo in the Indiana Jones film because all the other ones were the classic Paramount
Yo,
logo.
even Kingdom of the Crystal Skull had the classic one.
Yep. And then they have to put the Lucasfilm logo in there now because it's a Lucas property. And then it was kind of clever how they faded the Lucasfilm logo into the lock to the door. That was kind of creative.
Yeah. My chair's squeaking.
Yeah, I was just caught off guard because it's like I get it, Disney is celebrating 100 years, but I don't remember Guardians Volume 3 having Disney appear before the Marvel logo or.
Or Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Yeah, we're gonna have a do 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 do, and you'd be like dun 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 dun. That'll be like the longest. That'll be the longest intro you just ever like. Okay, it's been like what 2 minutes of this shit. Like,
That's You know what? That's probably why they don't do that at the beginning because they know the Marvel logo is long.
yeah, they just have to shiver this shit. Like, dude, they just have. Oh, they might as well just like mash them together and you just have them just fade cluster all the noise and shit.
Just shorten the Marvel intro instead of just going through all those. Oh, look at the imagery of all the heroes. Just cut to Marvel Studios. We know what it is. Thank you.
It feels like every Marvel intro they're adding new clips as that Marvel Studios logo is being shown.
Yeah.
It's like it feels like with each new film they just add a new clip, and it's like they're gonna eventually like run out of clips.
What are they gonna do for Marvel Studios 20?
No,
Oh gosh.
The 20th anniversary of Marvel Studios. What are they gonna do then?
they'll probably take like the little line on top of the studio and probably just kind of cut that off and put a shit on the just squeeze it on the eye and make it look like a two. I don't fucking know.
What?
I don't know, like kind of just take the little line and cut it down, glue the eye in there, and kind of curve it around, make it look like a two. It'll be like 20th anniversary, and then there you go, Marvel Studio 2
Oh my god. I did like how the Guardians intro at least had just clips of the Guardians.
Yeah, I like that. That was nice.
It's like imagine if a Spider if like one if like a future Spider-Man movie if they ever do another live action multiverse Spider-Man movie, they just show clips from like the Toby, Andrew, and just Tom movies.
Yeah, and I like that for Wakanda Forever, it was all Chadwick Boseman on there. I like that.
Oh yeah, and also like I know like Black Panther like after Chadwick passed away now on Disney Plus, and anytime it's on TV they're gonna show Chadwick for the original one.
Yeah.
I thought that's cool. You know what they should know would be funny. So how would you guys would feel when Craven comes out? It's the Marvel Studios logo, or
Oh
the
my.
Colombian logo.
I want my refund. Thank you very much. This is not Marvel Studios. This is not Marvel Studios. Get out of here.
It's actually like mentioned, just like, well, it's Marvel, so it's just another word next to the Marvel logo. They won't even know, so don't
No.
put that in there.
I better see in association with Marvel. I better see that at the
Well,
beginning.
No, it's in association with Marvel Studios.
No.
Don't be surprised if at the end of Craven in the mid-credit scene we see Michael Keaton recruiting Craven. it's like, yeah, I they took Batman away from me with the DCU reboot, but I guess I can play the Nick Fury of the Sony universe as Vulture.
You know, I have a feeling, you guys. I have a feeling that you know how Sony does, like they show like the last scene in their trailers,
Yeah.
like the Rhinos thing in Amazing Spider-Man 2 and the
And now the Rhino here in Craven.
that's what I was thinking. That it feels like that's gonna be like the like a post credit scene that still happens to be in the trailer. And I'm like, oh no, because I don't because it feels too good to be true to put Rhino in there too, because it's a Sony movie. So I'm like, oh man, if put this dude, I want to see Rhino in action in the second trailer. So when we'll see what's about to go down. So and then I'm hoping that Nick Fury pulls up in the post credit scene. You never know.
Oh my goodness.
Or they might just they say Chris Evans is in the post credit scene.
No, just no.
Oh man, I'm just see. This is why Spider Verse is better. And a bunch of fireworks all over the place still too. The damn war zone there. Damn.
Well, like, well, imagine. Well, here's the thing: they already kind of hinted that the Venom universe is part of the Spider Verse.
Yeah, yeah. That one scene with that lady at the store.
It's like, what if like Tom Hardy's Venom just appears in Beyond the Spider Verse and he has his own like introduction, like the other Spider-Man. He's like, let's do this one more time, Eddie.
Oh
My
my.
name is Eddie Brock. I was a photographer or journal. No, I was a journalist investigating this company, and then I found this symbiote. This is my personality, and it's like, oh boy.
Okay, that would be okay. That would be pretty funny though. That would be funny because it'll be way more funnier. Can we get if they do Morbius,
Oh
get
my
Jello to come
god.
in?
Oh my Morbius. It's like Toby, Andrew, and like Tom have their own intros, and then like Miles like, I get it, you're all Peter Parker. Leave me alone.
Oh God.
And it's like wait a minute, you're not the only one that broke canon. Yeah, I can't wait for Beyond the Spider Verse. I have a feeling it's gonna get delayed though, but I
They
can't
Yeah, me
wait for it.
too.
they should because there's a lot of production, there's a lot of just production. Well, not production problem. It's just the whole thing with the animators and stuff. Because the fact like they're not unionized. Sony is because Sony Pictures Animation is in Canada, so they not so Sony. Well, no, they're not. They're not actually. They're unionized because Sony Pictures Animation is in Los Angeles. Their animation stuff over the people that did their animation is Sony in Canada. So they're still technically like still connected in some way, but the animators are like they have 1,000 animators making this thing, and they were like overworked, and they were just like reanimating every like scene after scene, and it's just like it's crazy. Like it turned out great, but like the shit behind it, it's just kind of fucked up because you don't hear shit like that in Pixar because people in the United States are unionized. Not so much in Canada. They kind of exploit their animators and stuff, which is kind of fucked up. So I'm
Yeah.
hoping that Beyond the Spider Verse gets delayed. Like I want like late 2024 or whatever. Like or hell, don't even put a release date. Pull the release date out. Have the people take the time that they need to make it as good as it can be, or make it like the greatest it can be, so we can get like a one banger of a trilogy. I'm just hoping. I don't. We don't want another Spider. I like Spider-Man 3, but we don't want that other shit to happen.
No.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, I was rewatching Spider-Man 3 yesterday, and it's just like I enjoy this movie, but good lord, some of the decisions they made.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm
Din,
just
din,
saying.
din, 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 din.
Yeah.
Ah!
uh, right now, take the stab job, double the money.
Now think on this.
I'll take on this.
God, I hate it.
Oh my!
Oh, that. So yeah, I'm hoping Beyond the Spider Verse okay. Just get delayed because so we can get this movie to be the best it can be. So I'm just crossing my fingers. Like I still want to see this thing, but I don't want to come out as like a very like a rush job, like half cooked film.
Right.
So I don't know. I really got nothing else to say after this.
Yeah. But yeah, what? I mean, I'm gonna start wrapping it up. What are our final thoughts on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? DL, you go, then Blue Jay, then I'll go.
Okay. Well, overall, I'm. I thought it was fine. Um, I just, man, I just wish this came out better, man. I I guess I'm somewhat glad I saw it, but at the same time, I still felt like this wasn't necessary for them to make. And too many cooks in the kitchen overall. Too many. So it's like there's too many ideas put into this film. Um, it's just I don't know. I wish I could say this was great. I really wish I did. I do think I enjoyed this more than Temple of Doom, but like as I said, I think it's on the same level of Crystal Skull for me. Now I do like Crystal Skull, but like I don't know if I like it any better than that. It's definitely not on the same level as Last Crusade or Raiders of the Lost Ark. But Harrison Ford, I still thought did a really good performance. Um, he did the best of what he was able to do. Um, I thought the action scenes were, for the most part, exciting. The first 20 minutes specifically was really good. The best part of the movie. I just wish the movie was shorter. The pacing was not very good in the middle. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, didn't like her. Um, Wasted opportunity with the legacy characters. Um, the the overall the whole concept with the dial just was very confusing, which made the ending kind of confusing. Matt Mickelson I liked. I wish he was able to do a little bit more with the performance, but he does do a good job. But yeah, overall, this just feels like a middle of the road Indiana Jones film. It really is, and it's such a shame because this is possibly this is the last outing for Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and I just wish it. I wish we were able to end the movie on a higher note if this was his last film. But yeah, as I said, overall, I'm just like I said, I feel like I need to watch it one more time to just be set on it. But yeah, as I said, I probably will give it like I said, it's between a 6 or a 7, or I give it like maybe like a C plus, or something, C plus D B minus.
Wipe my ass quality.
Yeah, it is. That is not wipe my ass
I'm
quality.
just kidding. I'm kidding.
All right, Blue Jay.
Um, I enjoy watching this movie. Like I said, I am not really like a big indie fan. I do understand why people love Indiana Jones. I mean, it's a classic. No, like don't like there's no arguing with that. Um, I do find things a little weird, like the last act of the film where they're like in Rome and stuff. I was like, okay, they felt like we were watching a completely different movie. Fucking fireworks. So Mads Mikkelsen, but I love Mads Mikkelsen. He's an awesome actor. Um, the first 20 minutes were awesome. Phoebe Waller Bridge was like kind of in and out for me, admittedly, and the kid was almost like a like what I that's like wait what the fuck are you doing here? So, um, action scenes were awesome as what you expect out of this. Um, I don't know. Like I would say, like a 7.5 to an 8 out of 10 if we're doing this rating. I will give it like like a mid low, some good ass shit, or a B plus kind of. It's so hard to make a rating out of this. So like, I'll give it B plus.
And as I said, I enjoy Harrison Ford's performance. Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character annoyed me for half the film. It was nice to see Sala again, even if it was very brief. Mads Mikkelsen was a pretty good villain. I enjoyed the action. I enjoyed some of the chase stuff, but it also could have been shortened. To me, it's like they improved on stuff from Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but it's not quite where the original movies were. But yeah, I'll give it a B. I was entertained, and this wasn't the best conclusion, but I would definitely say I think this was handled better than how some of the Disney Star Wars movies were definitely handled. But yeah, I'll give it a B. And I think this is hopefully the end for Indiana Jones movies. I don't think we need any more. We should just leave the franchise be.
If they reboot, I don't want to see a reboot for another 10 years.
Chris Pratt as Indiana Jones.
And also, if you do ever reboot, do something different.
Tom Holland.
Don't just do don't do a Raiders of the Lost Ark remake. Like, take Indy on different adventures. Yeah. Oh gosh, if it was Tom Holland, just imagine the reaction. Iron Boy Jr. as Indy?
No, it's Indy Jones Jr.
Jr. No, Indy Jones the Third.
Who are you gonna get to play Henry Sr.? Robert Downey Jr.
Oh my freaking god!
My god!
That'd actually be a good casting.
Oh boy.
That'd actually be a good casting.
Look. Uncharted, unfarted, uninspired didn't work. It didn't work.
No, so I'm talking about Robert Downey Jr. as a Henry Sr.
I know, but I'm just saying. That's fine. That actually sounds interesting. But just Tom Holland. I'm sorry, no, not as Indiana Jones, please.
Mark Wahlberg as Indiana Jones.
What the fuck? No.
Hey, it's like no. It'd be like, hey, this belongs in a museum.
Hey, this belongs in a museum, man.
Hey, what are you doing over there? There, monkey. Why are you swinging over there?
God.
Or no, you can get Tom Holland as Indiana Jones, and you get Mark Wahlberg as Henry Sr.
Or it's like, imagine you get him as Marcus Brody, and it's like, hey, the pen is mightier than the sword. Oh my gosh.
God.
That would just be, oh my.
Trash.
Yeah, that would be so cringe, and I don't even know who you would get to play as Sala.
I can't. No, I'm not gonna say it because I'd be fucked. I'm not gonna say anything.
I'll say it. Jet Black.
Okay. No, I was actually thinking of like. I was actually thinking of something trying to be. So I'm fucking up right now. I'm trying to think of like who will play as Sala. I was about to say the kid from Jesse.
The what?
Oh my god. The one Indian kid from Jesse. I'm not
sure.
Oh
wait, you mean that kid was also the Diary of a Wimpy Kid, I think.
Yeah, I'll shut up. I'll shut up.
It's all good. It's all good. No, I thought you were gonna say the guy that plays Ned in Spider-Man could be Sala.
Oh,
no, please.
It's like, could you? Oh my.
Just no.
You might as well just make Zendaya Marion while you're at it.
Oh boy, that's great. Nope. No.
Like, yeah, you might as well just like convert Indiana Jones into the MCU Spider-Man.
Hell, get the director of those movies too. Why not?
And then you do the No Way Home event and have Harrison Ford team up with Tom Holland.
No,
and they can both be like, it belongs in a museum.
Oh gosh.
Indiana Jones, directed by I don't fucking know. Taika Waititi.
No. No, no, no.
No.
Oh man, I'm having fun with this. Like I'm just thinking, I just like to think of some of the wackiest shit. Don't to think of like if they just remake Indiana Jones or just reboot Indiana Jones and just like yeah, let's get the most off the wall casting and off the wall director of all time. Can we
Oh,
get so all right? So we can get uh India. The next Indiana Jones should be directed by Taika Waititi, starring Tom Holland, and then the music will be by Junkie XL.
oh my. Oh my.
Dubstep.
Or you know what? You might as well because Marcus Brody's an Englishman. You might as well get Daniel Radcliffe to play as Marcus.
I mean, I wouldn't hate that, but
I mean, for goodness sakes, they tried making Jim Broadbent in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull basically a junior varsity Marcus Brody.
mhm.
I mean, you get the Englishman. It's like literally, I was waiting at the end of Dial of Destiny to have like him come out of nowhere and be like, "Indy, I'm still here."
Yeah. Wait, didn't he? Wait, didn't he pass away before
Jim
Christmas?
Broadbent,
Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm not the character.
Jim Broadbent, yeah, the actor's still alive.
Okay.
I know Denholm Elliott passed away, which was kind of why it was disrespectful when the head of his statue broke.
Mm-hmm.
More disrespectful than the CGI dead characters in The Flash.
Huh.
Sorry, not sorry for saying that.
Dang.
But yeah, I'm about to wrap things up. Guys, do you have anything coming up on your channels?
Well, I will do my spoiler stream for Dial of Destiny next week. Throughout, I've been releasing clips and segments from my previous stream, so that's mainly what I've been focusing on as of late. So you'll be seeing some clips and segments on my channel. I am DL. That is my channel, by the way. Talk about movies, shows, and everything in nerdy geek culture. But and also we'll be talking about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2: The Secret of the Ooze this Thursday.
Go ninja, go ninja, go.
I love that song.
Yeah.
Or y'all can jump on if you are available. Um, but yeah, we're talking about the Ninja Turtles movies leading up to Mutant Mayhem coming up in August. So yeah, next one we'll talk about is Secret of the Ooze. So that's what's coming up. If y'all want to hear my takes on things, you can check out my channel.
All right.
Hey, Blue Jay, what do you got coming up?
I probably next week I am doing probably just a tier list for maybe for June for just June, but I'll probably hold that off till for the whole summer actually. Um, I am planning on doing a review for Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part One when that movie comes out because I do have that stream queued up for like the couple days after the movie releases. So not really much. So I'm just like, you'll see me do like couple box office games and stuff from MME and stuff. They're really fun. They're really enjoyable just to watch and just kind of guess which movie makes the most money and stuff. So that's kind of what I'll be like mostly doing. But I'll do like a movie review here and there. So that's all.
All right, and you can find me at the George, and I this is probably gonna be the last review series I do for a while. I'm still gonna be reviewing the upcoming movies like Oppenheimer, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning Part One, but I'm gonna be taking a break from review series because this is also gonna be the last video slash stream that'll be on a weekday. I'll be back on a purely weekend schedule until the middle or end of August. And also, don't be surprised if there might be a week I don't do a video stream. As far as next stream goes, I think I will do a stream about superhero fatigue and is it true or not? Because a lot of people like to blame that for all the problems at the box office.
I blame wokeness. I'm kidding.
I don't know. I'm gonna try to do that this upcoming weekend if I have the time. But yeah, thank you for tuning in. I also want to thank DL and Blue Jay for tuning in, and please subscribe to their channels and check out their content if you haven't already. They make great content as well. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already if you haven't. Please share us with someone that likes Indiana Jones. And I hope to see you guys real soon. And enjoy your 4th of July because tomorrow is the 4th of July.
Yeah, we'll be seeing a lot of crappy fireworks.
Yeah, I already hear them outside. But yeah, take care, everyone.
I hate snakes.